Renlud, everyone is born with skills that built civilization. They rely on them for everything because here, skills rule. What people don't suspect, among the zeros, the skillless. Meet the chef. A bear charges furiously through the forest. Chasing it, a knight unleashes his light speed skill. It blitzes the beast with lightning speed. Knight Asel pounces, slamming a powerful blow into the beast's back. The bear gives one last pained roar, then drops dead. Asel gasps for breath. Fromm cheers, praising his partner as the strongest holy knight. SS-rank adventurer Asel Gavinvillain wields sonic speed and sheathes her blade. Asal stares at her, telling her to stop chatting and loot the monster. S-rank adventurer Farm Rizlam wields flame. Fram awkwardly rubs his head, insisting Osel could do it herself. Busy scouting, she sighs and harvests the warm monster with massive garden shears. Farm sees the bear, only B-rank. Farm eyes the beast's claws, knowing they'll be tough to get, but snips them anyway. As Farm cuts the beast's claws, Asal turns away, saying it's pointless. No evidence, no guild reward. Plus, residents need proof the monster's gone. Elizabeth Close sneaks up for a hug. This S-rank master healer grips Farm's shoulders, telling her to stop nagging and be a good girl. Farm suggests Elizabeth gather resources. Elizabeth declines, saying she'd rather pray for the one doing it. Farms isn't satisfied, but resigns herself, already finished. Hearing this, Asel tells her squad to head back since their job is done. Suddenly, an unfamiliar voice calls them. A young traveler appears, asking if they need the monster. The girls stare blankly, having no clue what he's saying. Osel doesn't get his words or why he wants the monster. What's a skinny kid doing in this deadly forest? The girls stay silent, so he repeats his question. Isle's hand snaps to her sword, asking him what he'll do with the monster's body. She sternly warns that, as a holy knight, she won't permit his dangerous magic experiments. The young man, calm-faced, declares he'll just eat the monster. Silence. Moments later, the girls repeat his words, stunned. Asel warns the boy the monster meat is too tough and fatty to eat. Elizabeth warns monster guts are tough, bottom-tier meat that no one would ever eat. Disgust twists Farm's face. Cold sweat breaks out as she remembers trying monster meat, still sickened by the thought. Farm confidently declares they taste terrible. Unbothered by their words, he strips his equipment, asking again if they need a monster. Paralyzed by doubt, the trio huddles up to talk it over. They focus, theorizing he was lost, starving, went crazy, and craved monster meat. A beast creeps up behind them, and Asel whips around. A wild wolf confronts the girls, flashing long fur and razor claws. Asel realizes it's no mere animal, but a divine wolf. She grows wary as it approaches. Suddenly, the wolf bounds toward the boy like a puppy. The boy calls him one and notes he's late, while the wolf playfully mimics his name. He strokes the wolf's fur as it playfully cuddles him. The girls gasp as the divine beast appears. Elizabeth watches in disbelief, noting how rare it is for the creature to approach a human. She realizes it's divine wolf Fenrir, said to jump 5 mountains in one leap when adult. Its strength rivals the most dangerous S-rank monster. Asel's never seen a beast bond like this. The boy studies the monster, while the wolf eyes the bear hungrily. He drops his backpack, pulling out a large bundle. Then he straightens it and lays a giant leaf down. Farm explains it's a yoga leaf, useful for thermal insulation. He folds his hands, closes his eyes, and starts working. He thrusts his hand into the bear's wound and rips out an organ. He checks the intact gallbladder, ties it shut, and dives back into the monster's guts. He guts the beast and lays the spoils on paper, wiping his bloody hands while Farm and Elizabeth gag at the stench. He tackles the bear carcass, first stripping its fur. He carves the monster with expert speed, hacking out massive slabs of meat. Asel notes his work speed, seeing his skilled hand is clearly experienced in carving monsters. He's done this hundreds of times, and now Sel is dying to know who he is. Farm sniffs the air, her disgust vanishing. She asks Asel if she smells it, while Elizabeth drops her handkerchief, realizing the scent is all wrong. Asel agrees. Monster corpses reek of blood and rot because they eat humans. Looking closer at the meat, the girls realized it smelled and looked delicious. Asel smells normal meat and starts doubting. It actually looks tasty. Farm stammers, awkwardly asking if he's cooking it. Young man finds the meat juicy, plans to stew it, but Osel and others mishear stewing as fried beetles. They sound so similar. She turns to confused comrades. Asel hears this method for the first time, not understanding it. She imagines beetles impaled on sticks. She got hooked on his cooking, watching the guy intently. He wielded a strange device sparking fire from wood. Farm offers her fire skill to help, but the boy blocks her and refuses the aid. He thanks her for the help, but her flame's too strong. Asel nods, eyeing his tiny fire and doubting they can even cook on it. The young man sliced the meat into small pieces with his camp dagger, then scans for something. He heads into the bamboo forest and soon finds the perfect stalk. Asel questions his bamboo, thinking he'll make a dish. The boy skillfully slices open the bamboo and stuffs it with meat. He wraps the bamboo tight, then ties it with thread. He puts the bamboo-wrapped meat in the fire. The others are stunned. They've never seen anything like this before. Meat roasts over the fire as a smoky scent fills the air. He cracks the bamboo open, revealing a stash of delicious, ready-made meat. Everyone catches a strange scent, and the girls are stunned by the meat's mouth-watering aroma. Asel notes the juicy meat's clear shine. Farm admires the meat's amber glow, while Elizabeth catches a delicious scent, stunned it's actually from a monster. Asel struggles to restrain herself, her hands itch for the meat. She spots the divine wolf quickly devouring the meat, then it howls with joy, muzzle raised to the sky. The girls gape at the wolf's puffed fur, stunned the meat is actually this good. The boy strokes the wolf as it acts like a giant, happy puppy. Asel can't believe this majestic, awe-inspiring beast is so happy, especially since even the divine beast loved the young man's dish. She's curious and has to try a piece. She says nothing as the young man tries his cooking. He forks a piece, then breaks into a satisfied smile. He raves about the delicious food, grinning. Asel watches, swallowing nervously. She approaches him, and a stammering Asel asks if they can join in for a piece too. The young man teases them, asking if they want the monster's tough, sticky meat, echoing their words. Embarrassed by their recent words, the girls beg for a shot, and Asel insists he let them try since he's piqued their interest. Not greedy, he smiles, serving the girls meat on one plate. Dish serves his signature bear stew, handing a plate to the duo as they hold each other up. The girls stare in delight at the steaming hot meat. Farm says the dish looks incredible up close, making Elizabeth drool as juices pour from the meat. Asel takes the plate, scoops meat onto a spoon. Declaring looks don't matter, only taste, she shoves a whole spoon in her mouth. The other girls try a piece, and the taste rips their minds apart. They go silent for seconds, then Asel screams her admiration, calling the food delicious. She devours the meat, stunned that this monster flesh melts right in her mouth. Elizabeth loves the meat's soft, sweet taste, saying she's carried away, drowning in a sauce waterfall. Farm is stunned by the unique flavor. The meat is tender because Dish pre-sliced it with a knife. Glad this dish lacks monster smell, a delicate aroma fills her, then it hits her. Asel asks if Farm's okay, but she's stunned. The monster meat's foul taste has vanished. Asel doesn't buy it, insisting her terrible taste makes it impossible. One bite of this stewed bear instantly erased the haunting taste of the foul meat she'd endured for years. The girls devour the food, stunned that his skills turned trash meat into a 5-star feast. The girls are in bliss until a sudden thought pulls Asel away from her food. She turns to Dish, roughly grabs his shoulders, and furiously asks how he did it. She shakes him madly, demanding where he learned to cook. They saw him make this monster, but it can't be this good. Farm pulls her partner from the guy. Dish, hurt by Asel's actions, explains he didn't use his cooking skills. Asel doesn't buy it. She asks Disha how he turned foul monster meat into a feast without using skills. Dish says he can't use skills because he's zero. Confused, Asel asks again. Dish calls himself a zero cook, no skill. Dish reveals he's a cook and a zero, and the girls instantly pounce with questions. They question how he subdued an untrained divine beast or cooked delicious monster meat, girls shouting until Dish interrupts them. He gives in and tells the girls everything, starting 10 years ago. Child Disha in ragged clothes is tossed onto the street as a hulking man fires him, ordering him never to return. The man calls the boy a zero, drawing stares from the crowd. They whisper he's the son of a scientist killed by the monster's curse. The man tells Dish it's commendable that a child without skills tries to feed himself. After hiring Dish, complaints poured in. The man forbids telling customers food isn't fresh or water's dirty. Now the boy isn't welcome. The boy stands and brushes himself off, casually claiming he was just handling customers for the lazy owner. He claims even skillless people cook better than locals. After quitting first, the enraged man punches Dish with everything he's got. He scolds the child, threatening to throw him into the mountains. Dish's world goes black. Later, Dish wakes up from that brutal headshot. He sits up in pain, realizing the boss hits like a truck. Dish comes to, scanning. He's not in the city, but deep in a dark forest, utterly lost in the pitch black. It clicks, Dish spots forested mountains on the horizon. He knows the former boss threw him into the mountains. The darkness around the dish terrified the child. He couldn't move until dawn. After dawn, Dish wandered the monster-filled forest, sleepless and starving. Suddenly, a sound made him stop. He spots a B-rank two-horn nearby, a massive two-horned horse that prefers darkness over unicorns. Despite being a herbivore, this dangerous monster uses its horns to grab tree fruits. Dish tracks the beast from the bushes. He saw these monsters in his father's book, but now faces one. It's inedible, and Dish has no weapon. Dish isn't worried. He's got fruit, river fish, and small game to hunt. He's thrilled that nobody in the mountains yells, letting him goof off and cook all he wants. Hungry, he eats the delicious fruit the bichorns ate. He fails, collapsing defeated next to the fruit, its shell too hard to bite. Dish spots a white rabbit eyeing his food. It snatches the fruit and bolts, with Dish hot on its heels. He collapses, knowing he can't catch the rabbit. He stares at his hands, despairing. Dish knew catching it would change everything, yet he still believed he could survive. Skillless and with nowhere to turn, Dish accepted his fate and chose death. Eyes closed, he misses a shadow above him. Slime coats his head. Dish's eyes snap open in fear, grabbing it. He claws at it, gasping for air, all because of an F-rank slime, the weakest monster even kids can kill. It kills adventurers yearly in their sleep. It's dangerous if you're careless. Dish flees, only to smash his head on a rock. His blow hits the slime's core, bursting it like a balloon and liquefying it. Dish finally breathes. He examines the slime's remains, finding a small, threaded ball like an organ. He realizes this broken core caused the slime's death when it split. Dish, covered in slime, cheers his incredible luck, but he's still hungry. Dish picks up the slime goo. He thinks it looks tasty, like sky blue jam. Dish remembers his father's warning that monsters taste vile, but his starving stomach makes him hesitate. He hesitates, then finally puts his mucus-covered fingers into his mouth. To his shock, the slime tastes incredible. He tastes sweetness, then bitterness, comparing mucus to sugar water. He loves the taste. Bitterness unlocks sweetness, leaving a pleasant aftertaste. The refreshing jelly gives Dish a sudden energy boost. The jelly starts firm then melts instantly, so Dish names it slime jelly. Later, Dish carries 3 more slimes in his shirt bag. He finally wonders why they taste so good. His dad warned him monsters taste foul. Remembering his dad's book, he calls the slime jelly slurry and pulls out the broken core, spotting a thin vessel. Another thin appendage with small humps juts from the core. Dish thinks it's the slime's mouth. Suddenly, slime flows from its tip. It hits the leaves and starts eating. Dish realizes it's the slime's stomach, packed with nutrients and sugar. He finally gets the rush. It's the sugar. Dish tries his saved jelly again. It's still sweet, but now it tastes foul. Dish felt he ate sweet, rotten meat or raw throat juice, 100 times worse than sweet pepper puree. Sweet and bitter clash into a sickening mess. Worse than rotten scraps, this dish is pure hell. One taste, Dean knows, will forever haunt his nightmares. He finally gets his father's words. Dish dumps his bag and stares at the spoiled jelly, confused how it went bad so fast. It's disgusting now. Dish realizes the truth. The jelly really spoiled. He realizes monster meat isn't bad. It just spoils fast like the slime. No wonder everyone hates it. Nobody wants to eat rot. Dish realizes the meat needs to be cooked before it spoils. If he's right, the mountains hide treasure. Despite constant mockery and scolding for his lack of skill, Disha still wants to try never-before-seen dishes. He finally cooks freely, vowing that one day someone will love his food. Now a zero cook, he makes the mountains his home. 10 years later, Dish lies face down, his stomach roaring with hunger. He mastered these mountains better than anyone, but lately, his luck turned sour. He hasn't caught anyone in ages, and monsters devoured his grapevines. Dish seals the hole when something brushes his hair. He feels a tongue, assumes it's a dog, and turns to tell it he's not tasty, but instead sees a wolf. The wolf is massive, and its fur looks so fluffy he's dying to touch it. Silence, Dish and the wolf lock eyes. The wolf sniffs closer. Dish digs through pockets, finding what it seeks. He pulls a ball from his pocket, faces the wolf, who wags his tongue like a puppy. Dish throws the ball. The wolf snags it midair. Biting the ball, the wolf howls in joy at the strange taste and levels up his fashion. Dish is happy the wolf liked the food as it purrs. Suddenly, a noise behind them makes them spin around. A huge slime emerges between rocks. Dish panics. The slime's awful timing finds him hungry and weak. He prepares to fight, but suddenly the wolf stands in front. Then he pounced, obliterating the slime with one paw. Disha is shocked by the wolf's strength. He thanks the wolf for saving him, realizing it's the first time anyone's ever stood up for him. The wolf licks Dish's face, so Dish decides to thank him. He hands over a bucket and tells him to fetch river water. The wolf grabs the bucket, dashes off, growling the same sound. While the wolf fetched water, Dish prepped the fire. When the wolf returned, Dish thanked him for the help. Dish cooks boiling water in a large bowl over fire, while placing a solution of wolf-defeated slime in a small one. The wolf watches as Dish explains how water baths prevent sensitive ingredients from burning. He places a slime bowl into boiled water, then after boiling, puts it somewhere cold to harden. He plates the frozen mass and calls it his original slime taffy. The wolf eyes the dish in delight and amazement. He purrs, devouring the taffy as Dish grabs a bite, teaching his only friend, the wolf, how to cook. Slime's eating fruit and rock salt makes the dish taste way richer than normal sugar. He says skilled chefs can instantly heat or cool food, greatly affecting its taste and texture. Dish is pleased that since he is a zero, he learned to cook without relying on skills. He asks the wolf if it's good. The wolf happily purrs, rushing to the youth. Dish pets the wolf. Dish asks the wolf's name, but he just purrs back like a one. Realizing the wolf can't speak, Dish names him One. He asks if he likes it, and the wolf smiles happily. Dish and One stalk their prey from the bushes, a flock of E-rank crows. They're fast, agile, and always stay in groups. Dish says wild raven meat is the best, thrilling the wolf. He orders it to snatch One by the throat without damaging the body. One brutally attacks crows. Dish watches the carnage, their loud, chaotic cawing filling the air. He uses brute force to snag the flock's biggest raven, earning Dish's praise as an elite hunter. Dish builds a fire, preps the bird, then beheads and plucks it, charring the carcass with a torch. He plucks small feathers, then guts and debones the meat. Dish grins at the massive catch, a crow triple the size of a normal bird. A companion drools nearby, but Dish tells him to wait, he's frying it first. Dish cubes the meat, skewers it, and fries up a delicious raven shashlik. Dish gives One a skewer. The wolf watches with eager joy as Dish bites the second. One bite of the meat left Dish, and One stunned by the flavor. One bite releases a sweet fat found only in premium meat, perfectly crispy outside, while staying tender and juicy inside. Dish knows these predator birds eat fruits and nuts, not just meat, which he believes gives raven's meat a delicate, multifaceted taste. Dish and One enjoy the meat, Dish noting its rich flavor and tenderness are nothing like cheap, tough cuts. Fed, Dish and One's relaxed on the ground. The wolf's soft fur surrounded Dish, who rested lightly on its large body. He's had this 3 times, but this bowl is the best yet. He's sure it's because he ate it with One, and smiles, hoping for his partner in the future. Dish finishes his autobiography, which he'd told Isle, Elizabeth, and Farm, but the girls aren't listening, just eating. Dish is fuming, doubting the girls even listened. Asel claims she heard everything, but he doesn't buy it. Isle begs for fried raven too, and Dish finally realizes nobody cares about his story. He sighs then grins, promising to cook it for them if the chance comes. Isal immediately decides to go crow hunting, but Farm reminds them about the guild check-in, and Elizabeth notes it's almost sunset. Zero Chef Dish Mackin had no clue the entire world would soon know his name. Inside the mansion, Asel sits armorless in a light dress and necklace. She faces a table of many dishes, but looks depressed. Someone calls her away. Granson and Carol watch the lady worriedly. Carol asks if she hates the meal, but Granson insists it's perfect and urges her to eat. He claims she's skipping meals for a dumb diet. Carol and Granson, the well-known maid and butler, specialize in mixing and water attacks. Asel smiles, apologizing for her thoughts. He grabs a piece of meat and eats. She loves the perfectly cooked beef and praises Carol's stamina-boosting meal. She praises Granson's great juice, but the princess still can't forget that monster dish's taste. After dinner, Isle slams her window open. She's heading to the mountains to find Dish tomorrow. Even as the strongest holy knight, she can't resist. Next day, Asal reaches the mountains, armor and sword ready, but has no idea where to find Disha. Her stomach growls. She suspects the boy doesn't live in the forest, but came from another city. Asel knows she's too hungry to fight the strong monsters, but she won't give up, convinced fate connected them by his cooking. Suddenly, a large bear bursts from the bushes towards Isal. Tense, she's groupless, starving, and weak. Up close, she decides the bear looks tasty. Starving, she lunges at the monster. Before the knight can swing, the divine wolf pounces and clamps its jaws on his neck. Sel holds back, realizing this is the same wolf he saw with Dish. She admires the wolf killing the bear in one blow. Even she'd struggle to one-shot that monster, but Fenrir did. Seeing the wolf, Sel knows her target is close, as Dish steps out to praise one's success. Asal's thrilled she finally found Disha, but her reaction scares him. He doesn't remember her instantly, only knowing he's seen her before. He tries to remember the girl. Asal's amazed by his lightning forgetfulness. Asel forces herself to calm down. Too embarrassed to admit she's back for Disha's food, she starts a conversation instead. She introduces herself and apologizes. Calling him by name shocks Disha, who praises Asal's sharp memory. Asel snaps back, of course she remembers his name, hard to forget a great cook, then she instantly changes the subject. She wonders if Dish made a pact with the wolf. Dishbit fawns, claiming Esau calls him strange, just a pet. Confused, Asel screams and lunges at Dish, shocked he tamed an untamable divine beast. Dish says he just fed it candy, shocking Asel. He reminds her he already mentioned it, but they were too busy eating. Asel missed the details, but she's stunned Dish tamed an untamable Furnier with simple candy. Asel asks Dish's skills. He reminds her he has none. Asel apologizes for forgetting. Dish asks her to speak politely, pleasing Isle, until a loud stomach growl cuts her off. She apologizes, starving since morning, and night approaches. Ashamed, she asks Dish for food, but his only meal is a bear he just caught. Asel, mortified, asks Dish to recook the bear, like last time. He apologizes and says he can't. Speechless, Isle collapses in despair. Dish sees the girl craved that dish again. He can't cook it, no forest bamboo. Bamboo provides ideal stewing moisture, but Asel wonders how a dry plant does that. She trusts him despite her doubts. Dish watches the beast wagging its tail over the carcass, noting Isle isn't the only one hungry for a meal. He invites Isle home, but she's embarrassed. Her status forbids such visits. The moment Dish promises a tasty meal, she instantly follows him. The trio finds a massive tree with a wooden door hidden in its roots, reached by a crude staircase. Heroes join him. Asel eyes the massive tree, wondering how old it is. Dish doesn't know, calling the tree the guardian. He explains monsters, for some reason, don't approach it, making the area peaceful. He opens the door, inviting the guest. Rain and wind still penetrate, making it cold. Dish asks why Asel won't enter. She sheepishly asks where everyone is, but Dish reveals he lives alone. She looks nervous, but she's panicking inside. Baited by food to see this guy, she's desperately pretending it's not a date. Dish asks the girl out to eat. Asel beams, so Dish confirms the nice weather is perfect. In return, he asks for dishes. Asel agrees. Dish starts a fire. He shredded the meat again. Asel again marvels at his brilliant meat prep. Even seeing him cook it twice, she still can't believe it's monster meat. Dish boils water over the fire and tosses in the meat. He ladles the rising foam off the water's surface. Asel watches Dish remove foam by hand, asks if holy water's easier. She heard foam means dirty meat. Dish remembers the cleanse skill, wipes out the foam. Asel confirms holy water's use, then asks Dish his cooking method. Dish replies he tried water, but flavor vanished with the foam, so he removes it manually. He pulls out a small root, calling it local ginger, and offers Asel a strip. She takes one and pops it in her mouth. The sharp taste makes her wince, tears welling as she chokes down the ginger. She rants about the heat, but the pleasant spice clears her throat as every chew releases a hidden sweetness. Dish's pleased Isle likes the ingredient, noting ginger also warms. Isle soon feels her body warm. Dish says ginger purifies, perfect for removing meat odor. As meat cooks, Dish opens a pot, and Asel catches a foul scent as he pulls a mass from the peas. Dish shoves the foul mass on the board to Asshole. He asks if she's tried miso, but Esau is grossed out by its nasty look and smell. Dish shrugs it off as simple bean paste, leaving Asel struggling to process the claim. She knew fermentation, typically for liquor, but never for beans. Even looking at me like this, she still isn't disgusted. She calms, trusting Dish won't use miso, but instantly, Dish dumps all the miso into the meat's boiling water, shocking Asel. After miso, he adds slime taffy instead of sugar, then cooks the meat until the dish is ready. He bowls the meat and serves it plain with miso. The food smells amazing, but Isle is still suspicious. Asel hesitated, but Juan already devoured his portion with pleasure. As Dish strokes the contented one, Asel hesitantly eats meat. Instantly, she tastes an incredible flavor. She devours the tender, slow-cooked meat. It melts in her mouth instantly, and she can't stop. The flavor coats her tongue as ginger kills the meat's bad taste, leaving a fresh finish. The salty miso makes the sweetness pop, blending with the meat for the perfect flavor. Asel apologizes for comparing miso to trash. It's a divine duo, every bite filling her with sweetness. She's convinced Miso was made just for meat. She devours her plate, then asks for more. Dish offers more, but warns swallowing chunks will upset her stomach. Asel ignores him, pouncing on more meat, promising caution but knowing she can't stop. They devoured every scrap, and Asel loved the bare dishes, claiming the meal opened a whole new world for her. She thanks the cook for the meal and asks to return. Disha tells her she's welcome anytime. Asel says goodbye and leaves. Dish and Juan watch. Dish asks why Isle came to the forest. Dish sits quietly at home when suddenly his door rattles, then Isle bursts in, shouting trouble. She's visited every day, but Dish ruins the moment by calling her Azazel. Asel snaps, furious he'd give her a demon's name. Dish apologizes, changes the subject, and asks why her guest arrived so early. Isle finally reveals the truth. She's suddenly way faster. Disha isn't embarrassed, she's lightning fast. What takes a normal person a day from the city, she does daily after tasks. Asal disagrees, shoving a paper at Dish. He asks what it is, and she reveals it's her stat sheet. Dish doesn't know what a stat sheet is, but explains the guild assesses adventurers. She got it from her admin. Asal has Dish check the table. He reads her weight, mortifying her. She snaps he's looking wrong. Dish says her frequent visits explain the weight gain. Asal orders him to read the next line. Dish spots Asel's 999 agility and freezes in shock, but a thrilled Asel thinks it's awesome. Dish heard the parameter limit is 999, then asks Asel if that estimate is a glitch. She proved her skill in practice, battling a pack of maimed wolves. Dish warns maimed wolves are nasty, incredibly fast. Kill their leader quickly or they'll overwhelm you. Even Juan struggles against them. Asal agrees, but this time was different. She tells Dish about her mission with Elizabeth and Marf, where she killed a maned wolf in seconds and matched their speed. Disha is intrigued since these wolves are tough. Asal agrees, but wonders what happened to her. She never leveled the skill, so numbers shouldn't change. She ran loyalty checks repeatedly, but the numbers didn't change. Dish looks interested, but unsurprised. Asal asks why this happened, and Dish casually admits he knows. He invites her over before explaining, but she's not ready to enter. She'd visited countless times, but never gone inside. When he invites her in, her ladylike principles refuse. Dish smiles, says he made his usual delicious miso soup Isle will love. Minutes later, Asel sits in Disha's house, fuming for giving in and vowing to stay alert. She scans the room while Dish works the kitchen. Shelves everywhere packed with pots of ingredients. Asel realizes his home's packed with delicious food. He asks if she eats any, seeing her stare at the products. Asel, scared, asks if the pots are inedible. Dish says it's all edible, but tells her not to touch it. Her soup's ready. She sets her bowl down, his new specialty, meat and vegetable miso soup. Asel eagerly eyes the perfectly cut meat and veggies. Its fresh, rich taste, swirling colors, and smells fill her body. She sips the broth and instantly flashes a satisfied smile. Joy floods her as that sensation returns. Dish notes the meat is tougher, but chewing it unlocks its unique flavor. Asel feels as she bites. Flavors intertwine and reinforce. She tastes the potato, perfectly mixed with root veggies as salty miso makes the sweetness pop. Asel feels pure joy as potatoes, veggies, meat, and miso dance a waltz in her mouth, a perfect blend of four tastes. Asel slurps her soup while Dish stays busy. She notices and asks what he's doing. He replies he can explain her sudden stat increase. He sets a jug of beans before Asel, calling them speedy. Isle freezes, then turns to Dish, demanding answers, shocked by his words. Dish, unfazed, asks if she's heard. Asel explains speed beans are magic beans that boost agility when eaten. They're extremely rare plants, growing only in small patches of special soil, and no one's cultivated them. Dish shrugs it off, saying he just boiled and ground them into miso. A stunned Isle asks where he found so many speed beans. Dish leads her to his backyard, where Asel stares in shock at a garden full of rare beans. Speechless, Isle stares at the speed bean garden in shock, unable to believe her eyes. Trembling in fear, she asks if these are really speed beans. Dish confirms it, but Isle's scream cuts him off. She sees thousands of beans, remembering how rare and priceless they are. Underground auctions trade 2 magic swords for a single bean. Asel knows selling her crops buys a mansion, but then realizes these beans could make everyone as fast as her. That's revolutionary. She knows they could exterminate most monsters and protect lives. Snapping out of it, she demands to know how Dish grew these perfect beans, claiming skill alone isn't enough. She asks how he grew them. He says normal methods are useless here. He picks up soil, revealing something's mixed in. He mixed monster bones with earth. A shocked Asel asks, and Dish explains they hold Mana's remains. He says in the mountains he saw beans growing around a monster's skeleton, which sparked this method. Asel's blown away and insists on sharing the secret. Dish is too lazy to care, so he lets her. Asel realizes they can now grow thousands of speed beans, letting adventurers boost their stats. She thinks of the market's fresh miso, then suddenly it hits her. She realizes she can eat miso at home, no more forest visits, no reason for Disha she won't see him. She refuses to let this happen, but her odd behavior leaves Dish completely baffled. He asks what she forbids, but she cuts him off. Though a great loss, they can't reveal the bean-growing secret. Asel vows she can't let that happen. She realized he ate miso every visit, so his characteristics must have boosted greatly. Dish claims he hasn't changed at all, so Asel demands an explanation. Dish uses a different bean for his miso, pointing to a nearby slow bean. Asel understands his explanation, suddenly shocked by slowdown beans that, unlike speed beans, reduce speed. She recalls a joke. A merchant bought speed beans, but they backfired, bankrupting him. Dish interrupts, offering her slow beans. Asel and Dish return home. Dish serves her new slow bean soup. She eyes the soup, its broth already stained red. A scent hits her, stronger than speed bean miso. Despite just eating, she can't resist. She snaps back, refusing to lie to herself. These miso beans will definitely mess her up. Her incredible speed, a signature skill, means soup can't affect her. She quickly gives in and devours the soup. These beans taste deeper, feel softer than white ones. Same ingredients, completely different dish. She devours the soup, loving this miso more than the last as the flavor surges through her body. Dish asks Asel if she likes his soup. She calls it delicious. She realizes the slow bean miso is tanking her stats. She gulps the broth, realizing her light speed is fading to normal. Soon, she'll be slow Asel, then turtle Asel. Every soup sip shrinks her into a trinket a turtle could outrun, so she fights the stupid thoughts. Checking her stats, she remembers her plan. To keep making this dish, she'll keep the speed bean method a secret. Asel hides the truth for her own gain, so now she must fight for 10 people to atone. She can't lose to herself. Seconds later, she asks for more as he grabs the massive pot, telling her to eat her fill. Asel light speed lost. Mid-mission, Elizabeth asks Farm if she's noticed Asel is moving slower than usual. Farmer agrees, seeing Asel fight with all her strength despite the monsters being no match. They wonder why. Farm decides to go all out and get stronger. Asel stays silent. She knows Farm's wrong. She ate too many slow beans, making her even slower. Back in the city, Asel meets Fawn, an admin checking her stats. Fawn reports Asel's status shifted again. Her speed hit 999, then plummeted as her weight increased. Asel's unsure if it's good or bad. Carbania is Runlead's most influential state. Founded in 420, it's the world's fourth largest city, dominating northwest Cementos. With mountains, forests, fields, and sea access, the state thrives thanks to its prime location. The continent spans 4 seasons, and Carbania is the world's most beautiful country. Asel von Velen lives in the border town of Urbane. She, Elizabeth, and Farm hit the Adventurers Guild. Inside, Asel gives Fawn the quest materials. A fluffy-eared girl inspects the materials and praises Asel for crushing a 5-day task in just 1 day. Von Land runs the guild Esau. Elizabeth and Farm are in. Guild takes monster hunts or citizen errands. Tasks rank, adventurers get assigned. Guilds were once simple job hubs, but constant monster attacks forced them to hire adventurers. Orders flooded in from everywhere, forming a system where the guild pays rewards, not the customers. A system demanded monster parts as proof for task completion. Only guild members accept these orders, adventurers. Heroes destroy monsters and conquer unknown dungeons. Or so they claim. The guild stared as Holy Knight Asel arrived, cheering at the trophy claws from her mission. They're stunned by the mountain of rare maned wolf claws, but that's just typical for an SS rank adventurer. F-rank adventurers only dream of monster missions. The girl next to them sadly agrees, they just catch pets or collect herbs. An adventurer cuts the whining, vowing to reach SS rank one day. The cell hears the adventurers, learning not every task is heroic, even simple assignments are vital. She believes these 3 are remarkable adventurers who completed many tasks, even great heroes. Cell is an SS rank adventurer and state-appointed Holy Knight, a rare title granting her elite privileges. As an SS ranker, OSL's best perk is his incredible administrator, Fawn. She provides detailed task info. Talented, she fiercely supports Asel's group, always helping other adventurers too. She notes Frame's unusual behavior. He was quiet until recently, but now cheerful. Fram was shocked by the skill gap with Asel, but noticed her pushing limits lately, even on simple missions. Fram loves her battle freedom and the new, silent Asel, but she just turns away in silence. Asel wants to blame the slow beans and her own greed, but she stays silent. Fawn whispers to Asel, making sure her agility hasn't recovered. Asel agrees, asking to keep it from Fram. Vaughn agrees, seeing Fram's joyful enthusiasm. Asel tells Fawn she's been through a lot, but regrets nothing and sees no flaws in herself. Fawn asks what happened. Osel's agility isn't the only change. Osel looks away, embarrassed, and mumbles. Fawn leans in, asking Isle if she has a boyfriend. Isle freezes, then blushes terribly and squeals. Seeing her reaction, Fawn smirks, knowing she nailed her guess. Asel swears she's single, but Fawn isn't buying it, calling her reaction suspicious. Overhearing, Fram reveals Isle's often in the mountains, making Isle fearfully demand how she knows. Asel pivots, claiming recent accidents, but Frame quickly corrects her. She means the monster-killing mountains. She suddenly remembers eating monster meat in the mountains. Asel immediately clamps his hand over her mouth, silencing her. Smiling, Fram tells Isle not to be ashamed. She's a good girl, and having a lover is perfectly fine. Asel rejects Fam's claims, insisting her personality shift isn't related. Right after, she gets confused, saying events might connect, but don't worry. Smiling, Fam says she understands everything. Isle checks Frame, asking if she's alive after her tight grip, only to find her unconscious from the pressure. Asel desperately begs Fram for forgiveness, trying to wake her friend. Asel leaves the guild, annoyed her friends aren't spreading rumors about her and Dish yet. She snaps, furious she misread their relationship, and slams her head against the wall. She realizes Dish is learning the truth, so she can't neglect her adventurer duty. Asel realizes Fram and the newcomers are in the guild, so she must set a good example. She decides to skip Dish for a while. Asel decides to stay away from the Dish for a while. A holy night, she cannot stray from her path, so she'll handle it. Her confidence shatters, and she returns the next day for Dish's fresh wild raven kebabs. Isle eyes the sizzling meat with joy, remembering how much she's been dying for another taste. Asela thanks Dish for the food, glad he heard her. One bite and she instantly recognizes that familiar, incredible flavor. She says these kebabs aren't like city ones, the crow meat feels more elastic. Asel devours the shashlik, noting the raven meat's pleasant elasticity, not toughness, as it chews perfectly, flooding his mouth with juice. Asel never imagined wild crows could taste this good. Asel devours her meal, leaving only empty skewers. She's thrilled to finally taste the long-awaited raven. She quickly realizes, screaming, enraged at herself for breaking her promise to stay away. She spots Dish packing a large backpack, slings it on, and confirms he's leaving when Asel asks. He gestures Asel to the window. The cell knows the danger. A distant mountain burns, but fire will spread through the forest, reaching here. Asel knows she'll lose her food, but home isn't safe either, so she can't waste a second. She turns to the carefree Dish and frantically asks how he's staying so calm. He assures Asel the fire's from fire-eating birds, but Asel's never heard of such monsters. The Fire Eater is a C-rank monster that literally eats flames. These volcanic birds rarely attack humans. Dish explains when no flames around, these birds create their own, then eat burning coals and stones to satisfy hunger. Asel learns of monsters for the first time. Monster-caused or not, she can't ignore the fire. Dish warned it'll spread fast. She can't walk away. If these monsters aren't stopped, people will die. Asel draws her sword, vowing to destroy the Fire Eater. Dish asks, sure, she's certain to save people. Juan approaches Isle, making her happy he wants to go. Together, they can cope. She spots one looking excited and asks why he's drooling. Dish tells Isal Fire Eaters are tasty. Shocked, her stomach growls instantly at the thought of a new dish. Dish laughs, calling the reaction expected and Asel hilarious, but Asel sheepishly insists he heard nothing. Dish stops laughing, tells Asel not to worry. He's wanted to eat Fire Eaters forever. Slaying the beast fulfills Isle's wish to protect the people and scores them a feast of delicious meat. Asel agrees to the arrangement. Dish, One, and Asel are ready to hunt. The group heads into the forest to hunt the Fire Eater. Asel finally asks for a plan, and Dish confirms he's got one. Dish grabs a twig pointer to plan their Fire Eater hunt, explaining that success depends on knowing the monster's habits. Fire Eaters crave smoldering flames, so they start a fire. The smoke spreads, attracting birds because it smells like food. They'll pour concentrated alcohol on the fire, intensifying smoke and creating thick alcoholic vapors. The smell will instantly get the fire eater drunk. Then the capture's complete. Dish also warns them not to get drunk. Asel asks if monsters can even get drunk, since she's never heard of it. Dish explains that even if monsters resist poison or petrification, they're still living creatures, so alcohol still works. Dish says it works either way, but Isle is stunned one was just drunk. She doubts the plan will work, but Dish stays calm, so they follow it and make a fire. A cry echoes through the forest. They look up to see a figure diving from the sky. She's a fire eater. Dish yells to Asel, hide, the monster can't spot them. All three hid in the bushes. The bird swoops down, sniffing the fire's smoke. Asel sees the fire eater stalling, but Dish warns her that hunters need patience. Finally, the beast lands. He cautiously approaches the fire, examining it. Asel decides to ambush, but Dish stops her. He claims it's not time. Asel doesn't get the delay, the bird's already close. Dish warns her, the alcohol's kicking in soon. Asel watches the bird as the alcohol stench hits them, then the fire eater plunges its beak into the flames. He runs his beak over the fire, then freezes. Isle notices. The fire eater pauses, then hiccups loudly. Stunned, Asel asks Dish if it really just happened. The confused bird spreads its wings. Asel fears it's escaping, but Dish knows the monster is already drunk. Asel just sees a normal chicken walk. Dish says it's the perfect time to attack. Dish jerked aside as Asel screamed his name in agony. He glanced over and snatched a bottle. He threw it at the nervous bird. The bottle shattered on it. Asel was surprised it was a strong drink, now water. Dish knows water is poison to fire monsters and a freezing shock to drunken eaters. He thinks it worked, but he's clueless about the secret. Asel yelled for him to stop, explaining water wouldn't kill him. Then she gasped. Asel noticed the bird's reaction dulled, realizing if monsters eat fire, their body temperature is super high. She heard if you lower body temperature, senses dull and movement slows. She doubted Dish planned it so precisely. Then Dish attacked the bird. Asel praised the perfect job. She realized Dish knew every tiny detail about monsters. Asel found smoke and screams. Birds swarmed. Asel wondered why they swarmed, but Dish explained the birds smelled the smoke spreading far. Asel said the dish was too calm, too many to handle. Dish replied he only set a trap and hunted, otherwise they wouldn't have caught the bird. He served the Asel, asking if that's why she came. Asel was right, the dish was perfect. Juan joins them. Asel thought this might be her hardest battle, but surprisingly, she felt confident. She unsheathed her blade, daring the birds to attack if they wanted to be sliced into meat. Girl charges. Later, Asel panted for air. She reveled in her strength, then their combined power. Dish expected her to scare the birds, but she just butchered them all. Asel asked Dish if the ingredients were okay. Dish says everything's intact, so we're good. If damaged, throw out the meat. Awkwardly, Asel asked why other meat was useless. Dish says to wreck the insides, let everything spill out, and toss it immediately. He called the battle long, but Oslo and Juan were great. Long fights usually lose focus, making attacks sloppy. Asel insisted it's her duty as a holy knight. Then the girl demanded to eat faster. Dish agreed, but he couldn't cook all the birds. Monster meat spoils quickly, so he'd only cut some. Asel was surprised. Dish assured her there was plenty of meat for the girl to eat her fill. Soon the dish sizzled. Asel surprised he cooked it right away. Dish explained fire eaters are so hot, cutting them burns you, so cool the meat first. Cool the meat too fast and it shrinks and toughens. The meat's texture is ruined forever. Once the meat hits human temp, pull the bird out and pluck its feathers. Asel froze as the bird glowed like living fire. Dish fired up. Dish suggested guys try it. Asel asked for spices, but Dish said the meat was delicious. The girl dug in. Suddenly, she shrieked in joy. Asel reports the meat's fiery. Texture's good, elastic, unusually soft, but still super spicy. One bite and meat juice floods your mouth. She tasted the meat's spiciness and sweetness. Dish grinned, promising an even tastier meal if they just waited. Juan and Asel waited. He coats the dish in potato flour and starts cooking. He tossed it in the pan, and a divine sizzle and smell hit the boys. The dish looked stunning. He coats the chicken in batter. They devoured the fire eater. Guys stunned by its unique texture, meat crispy outside, soft inside, thanks to the super crispy potato breading. The light crunch gives way to dense meat. They devoured everything. Asel never expected fire eaters this tasty. Dish realized Asel knew nothing. Monster blood holds mana. Fire Eater's fire makes the meat spicy. The cell saw no difference. Even royal library sages are clueless, but for Dish, this is common knowledge. Dish Mashon is a total mystery. Later at the guild, Asel put on a helmet. Asel turns, lips swollen from the sharp meat, and puts on a helmet to hide the damage. Beast girl Carol Harness found something curious troubling Knight Isel. She met Carol 3 years ago when a monster killed her parents. At that moment, Isle appeared and saved the little girl. She owed her life to her. Left all alone, kind Osel gave her a permanent home. The girl moved into the mansion as a maid, cooking delicious meals for her busy adventurer mistress. Carol noticed her mistress constantly sighed, eating, staring off, and even in her medicinal bath. Harness first blamed her food, but after thinking, she realized something else was happening. Asal was clearly in love, constantly visiting Mount Kumov, but too scared to make her move. Sparkling with inspiration, Carol knew her mistress's actions left her one task: push the couple's relationship forward. Starving in the mountains, the maid realized she had no clue where the man Isle visits actually lived. Carol wondered why he lived in the wild instead of a city, knowing her hunger made her defenseless against monsters. Refusing to quit, Harness vowed to find her mistress's lover. Seconds later, the maid collapsed as her stomach roared for food. She froze until she remembered she had to cook dinner. Harness nearly gave up, mentally begging her mistress for forgiveness, believing she'd failed her. A monstrous shadow closed in, and the girl instantly blacked out. Carol woke up on a makeshift bed, remembering how she got lost and collapsed in the forest. Carol faced the monster, its stare making her wonder why she was alive until now. As the beast neared Carol's face, she couldn't run, still paralyzed, but it just licked her, stunning her. Dishmikan sees she's awake and tells his guest to wait while he cooks. Carol saw he was her age, figuring he was her rescuer. She politely refused, unable to accept his food after he'd already saved her life. Suddenly, her stomach roared even louder, betraying her as she still refused to eat. Dish purred loudly while she was out cold, then pressed her to reconsider. He and his pet were starving. Embarrassed, she accepted his help and watched the hero cook their meal over the fire. She saw him preparing black, bamboo-like sticks over the fire. The girl introduced herself. The hero responded, introducing himself and his partner as his pet wolf one. She thanked her savior and offered help, but he told her the meal was ready and not to worry. Juice oozed from the black sticks, so he pulled them from the fire. He opened it, steam billowed from the sticks, the dish sparkling as Carol stared, amazed. Carol tasted the fire-cooked food, shocked by its alien taste. It looked just like boiled barley and rice, but she'd never seen barley this white. Grains were oblong, not round, proving this wasn't just uncooked barley and rice, but something else. Intrigued by the strange food, Harness offered a bite, and the hero accepted. Chopsticks in hand, she reverently tasted the fresh meal. Its deliciousness surprised her. Sweetness grew with each movement, texture elastic and pleasant. Thrilled by the praise, Dish revealed he wasn't done yet and told his guest to wait for the final touch. She was perplexed. Even at her level, the dish was delicious, leaving her unable to imagine improving it. Carol distrusted the young man, so she questioned the dish's white grains, noting they weren't barley but wider and oval. Dish blankly revealed they were madaraj seeds, making a horrified Carol spit them out instantly. Madaraj is a toxic plant that kills in large doses, so no sane person eats it. Tearful, the girl raged Dish fed her poison seeds, but he calmed Carol, explaining the poison was mostly in roots and stem, not the seeds he gave her. Harness's indignation stopped short. Not a farmer's daughter, she couldn't know specifics, but she knew poisonous plants meant poisonous fruit and seeds. But the hero calmly explained poison might be in the food, but it's too little to cause harm. She was still worried, but he cut her off. He'd washed every grain in holy water to purge the poison. Poison forgotten, the maid was stunned he'd use holy water just to wash food. They used holy water to wash meat and veggies, making them safe to eat. Carol doubted the method's effectiveness on the poisonous seeds and where he learned this cooking method. She asked about the madaraj, shocked she'd never heard of it. Dish admitted he invented it himself. Baffled, the maid asked where he got holy water, wondering how he found it deep in the mountain forest. But he had a whole jug, shocking Harns even more. He added spirits sometimes ate lunch with him, bringing holy water in thanks, still surprising Carol. She couldn't believe spirits actually dined with him, having never seen such powerful beings herself. Dish pointed to his pet, revealing one was a divine beast and stunning the maid who knew their true power. She recapped it all. He mastered a divine beast, spirits ate his dinner, but Carol remained confused, blaming the poison. But Harness concluded she didn't need to worry about the poison. If the food was toxic, her stomach would have hurt long ago. Instead, a warm glow filled her stomach, and her whole body felt weightless. Dish finished cooking, pulling the steaming, smelling dish from the fire. Even Carol, knowing it was poison, couldn't resist the aroma. Harness finally gave in, apologized for the poison talk, and asked for a bite. He was all in, serving a special dish of dishama kona and piku mataraj with miso now that cooking was done. Surprised by the name, the young man explained he named it because the dish looked like a spear tip, confirmed by his pet and guest. Eager to eat, she grabbed the food fresh off the fire, blew on it, and took a bite from the stick. Carol's joyful shout about the delicious taste echoed through the mountains. Harness noted the mataraj grass fried crispy, moisture evaporated, refining the dish's texture. The inside stayed elastic, and frying made the sweetness explode. The girl says the miso paste gave the dish an incredible flavor. It perfectly balanced the main flavor, never overpowering the sweetness, while the fried crust's bitterness amplified the taste. The intense sweetness of the poisonous mataraj herb and the rich salty miso worked. Harness loved the perfect flavor combo and shouted that the dish was delicious. Later, plates empty, the maid eagerly asked about the hero's cooking method and skill. Dish stunned the girl by admitting he has no skills, revealing he's just a level 0 cook. Before Carol could mention the guy, a scream pierced the forest. Asel was shouting her name, and recognizing her mistress, Carol answered instantly. The adventurer leapt over the forest, dove at Carol, and slammed into her, causing her pain. Tearful with relief, Asel finally found her maid, apologizing and insisting she was okay. Carol pointed to the young man who saved her, so Asel turned to thank him, but recognized Disha, who quickly greeted her back. Harness noticed the couple's familiarity, then realized her mistress ate poorly and often visited the mountains for this dish. She tried asking about the mountains and the new lover, but her mistress cut her off. Asel saw the hero feasting again and swiped a piece, figuring he'd made plenty to share even if it wasn't hers. She smiled at his cooking. Carol noticed, realizing Asel never reacted like that to her own food. Harness turned to Dish, declared war, making them rivals, while everyone, even the hero, stared in confusion. Carol vowed to win at any cost to regain her mistress' favor, while Asel and Dish wondered what happened between them. Event announced, Carol committed to training, bursting from the forest toward her goal. Shocked by her sudden move, Asel yelled for her to stop before she sprinted off the steep cliff. Later, shouts rang through Asel's house that Disha was invited, catching even the hostess off guard. Carol was confident he helped them immensely, so they had to thank him. Harness needed to see who was worthy of cooking for Mrs. Asel, and finally put everyone in their place. Later in a room, plates of exquisite, sparkling dishes covered the table. Stunned, the protagonist watched Carol invite him to the table, then grin and tell him to dig in. After he took a bite, the maid asked if he liked her cooking. Dish loved the meal, and Carol bragged she cooked it herself. Dish loved the corn soup, his first chilled soup. The proud maid explained she stews corn with kernels, as the cob's sweetness saturates the taste. Dish learned the soup method, surprised, vowed to try it, and found the duck meat excellent and soft. He praised the perfect cook and the bitter sauce, knowing from Asel's servant that the secret ingredient was beer. Shocked, the hero tasted the sauce again to confirm, dabbing a bit with his finger. Sweet and bitter beer flooded his mouth, but he knew a secret ingredient was at play. But the resourceful level 0 chef, with his knowledge, immediately guessed the dish included onions, bone meal, and garlic. He knew stewing these would perfectly balance his salty bone meal with the sweet onions and garlic. Dish tasted sweet and bitter, a blend that didn't overpower the meat and perfectly enhanced the duck. The cook instantly devoured Carol's incredibly tasty dish and amazing, generous sauce, vowing to recreate it immediately. A servant thanked him, but Asel was just glad the dish was a hit, making the whole event worth it. He studied her closely, realizing she looked completely different, just like a true aristocrat. The girl blushed, but Carol scowled at the hero's terrible compliment. Dish, despite the maid's fuming glare, claimed clothes looked good, calling it a compliment. Asel calmed her maid since the guy's praise was sincere, and he agreed, saying she looked perfect. Hearing the compliment, the girl blushed, and Dish wondered why her face reddened. Wu joyfully chimed in, grabbing everyone's attention. Carol noticed her dish was untouched. He hadn't even taken a single bite. The maid didn't understand why the beast disliked her dish, but she immediately apologized. He only eats food from someone he truly trusts, making her realize the divine beast doesn't trust her. After a brief chat with his pet, Dish asked Carol to use her kitchen. She agreed, but clearly had more to say. Isle interrupted, keen on his cooking plans, and he confirmed them by bringing ingredients. The young man hit the estate kitchen and got straight to work. I noticed their massive kitchen even had 4 ovens. Dish expected it. Isle ate so much, but her denial surprised him. Carol explained multiple ovens cooked many dishes easily, adding her mistress ate little. With the info settled, Dish started cooking something special while Isle waited eagerly. He set the cauldron over crackling coals to cook, as Carol eagerly watched what he'd make. Dish decides on bone crackers, stunning the girls who never knew bones were edible. He pointed out Carol uses bone dust too, since bones have their own unique flavor. The servant who made the sauce confirmed the bones had a slight flavor from cooking. They fried the small fish whole until the bones crunched, creating a unique flavor Asel was dying to taste. The servant offered to help the boy prepare oil, but he refused, already set. He grabbed an improvised container from his bag, untied it, and poured the liquid into the cauldron. Carol noticed the oil was already liquid without a fire, and it smelled way better than normal. Asel loved the oil's wonderful aroma. The maid decided to find out the oil's nature. Learning Dish used oil from dragon bats' fire sacs. Daring monsters, fire-aligned bats, breathed flames to incinerate entire insect swarms. Carol was stunned he'd actually cook monsters. She explained monsters aren't eaten, though some humans eat monster meat as a delicacy. The servant said dragon bats have oil organs, but they're not worth eating. Dish and his pet laughed, but the maid fumed, seeing nothing funny. But the hero remembered Asel's identical reaction. She'd explained monsters aren't usually eaten, calling it a normal response. She confirmed eating monster meat, even though monster corpses normally rot instantly. Drooling, the girl told what she learned from Dash: cook the meat before it spoils, and it will be very tasty. The hero skipped explanations, suggesting they just try the small, high-quality oil whose amazing aroma cheap oil lacked. Everyone smelled the oil and agreed it was impossibly putrid. He ditched the usual fish and chose dragon bat wings instead. The hero noted the wings held various sized copies and meat, whose long shelf life made it perfect for souvenirs. He sliced the wings into bite-sized pieces, then salted and cooked them. Oil hissed and popped in the cauldron, sounding like a stadium full of cheering fans. Noting the oil's sound and smell, Dish removed the amber pieces, finishing the dish. The hero serves his special disha, Makona dragon bone crackers. Asel loved the aroma, but Carol warned him not to be fooled by monster bones. She refused to serve this garbage to her mistress. Asel knew her maid was wrong. Dish's monster dishes were tasty and never poisoned her. Trusting the kid's cooking, the adventurer takes a bite and a loud crunch rings out. The sound grabbed everyone's attention, even Carol's, prompting the second servant to try the dish as Asel and one already devoured it. Crackers hooked everyone. They couldn't stop eating more as maids watched. After hesitating, she finally tasted the demon backcracker and was stunned. She screams it's delicious, while Isle praises the cracker's perfect texture and satisfying crunch. Servant noted the thin meat on bones, thinking it added flavor with a unique texture. All 3 devoured the dish, amazed by the fire monster's incredible spice, perfect salt, and deep aroma that kept it exciting. Carol paused, examined the cracker, and found it amazing. She was shocked he used monster oil, but Dish's casual attitude surprised her even more. Starting with nothing, he survived monster-filled mountains and vowed to achieve greatness. Left with no choice, he ate the monsters. Carol praised his tenacity, amazed by his dedication to his work. The maid realized she'd blindly obsessed over her cooking, selfishly chasing nothing but victory. This realization depressed Carol, but an Asel servant neared, reminding her she had unique power. Girl doubted, but the servant offered beer, saying it'd cut through the salty dish. Loving the idea, Isle told her maid they should share the cheese. Carol stood stunned as the adventurer told the curious dish she loved this cheese, especially with alcohol. Asel raved about her subordinate's incredible cheese, surprising the level 0 chef, who asked to try it. Carol stood unaware, but seeing the man's friendly smile, she tearfully announced she'd serve the cheese. In her room, she remembered her own cooking, realizing that by competing, she'd lost sight of what truly mattered. Slicing cheese from the cupboard, the maid realized the meeting taught her more than she'd admit. Plating the cheese, Carol felt her skills level up. Serving her mistress, she grew even more determined to help Isle. Asel and his party reached a dark magic cemetery, pitch black even at noon, to finish their mission. The priestess said a village once stood here, but a magical incident wiped it out. A teammate notes that buried corpses still react to magic in the soil. Asel noticed most bodies became ghosts, and adventurers must destroy the undead. Dish, their last member, confidently hoped to cook tasty undead, but others doubted you could make anything from a ghost. With Dish around, the crew expected weirdness, but these monsters were nothing like the bear they'd killed. Asel doubted he could cook the undead since they're just ghosts. Hero didn't quit, even if eating ghosts was impossible, assuming failure early solved nothing. The cell resigned to his will, but begged him not to leave her in the dangerous area, then spotted someone approaching, far too close. She turned around and saw a ghost staring right back. Group surprised by a sudden dark ghost who ignores physical attacks, is weak to light, and haunts cursed cemeteries and ancient battlefields. The priestess warns that a ghost has appeared, controlled by a hidden necromancer. Asel rallied the group as a massive horde of ghosts surrounded them. Dish and his beast saw the undead and sighed, disappointed the ghosts looked inedible. Asel couldn't believe that was their only concern. Sick of the sneaking ghosts, one girl ignited her glove and vowed to make them pay. The girl instantly torched a ghost, while the priestess prayed, cleansing all ghosts in the spell's radius. Dish marveled at the magic, stunned by the skills, flame, and holy healing's look. Isle screamed a warning as a ghost lunged at his back. She chopped at the ghost but couldn't cut it. Her light speed skill lacked an element, a truth she hated to admit. The monster dodged the swordswoman's attack, rushing at Asel's loud cries. A fluffy tail shoved the ghost flying, making it vanish. Worried for Dish, Asel was shocked as the saint revealed rumors. Divine beasts possess immense holy power, and the situation confirmed it was one. Asel realized her skills were useless against the ghosts, making her dead weight in the fight. Dish told her not to worry, reminding her of her true strength. She admitted he was right, the monsters were the problem, not her strength. Suddenly a terrifying voice boomed behind them, mocking the adventurers' strength, sure they couldn't win. Oslo looked back at an A+ ranked dark skeleton mage, a powerful demon that controls monsters and casts deadly spells. Instantly, he declared he'd fight them, while Asel couldn't believe a skeleton mage stood before her. No one knew how the demon entered the territory, but they remembered the warnings. Fawn warned them the task felt wrong, no simple ghost exorcism, and they soon realized this demon caused her premonition. Demons are geniuses with the strength of dragons. This skeleton mage is so deadly only A-rankers can take him down. The priestess urged caution with him, then Asel rallied everyone to attack the demon. The group unleashed flame and holy healing skills, converging on the target and erupting in a massive explosion. The boys hoped for damage, but Asel pointed to the monster's elemental defense. The lightning speedster warned her team to dodge the sky attack they didn't see coming. One dodged last second and thanked Asel, but the demon was done with his constant dodging. He raised his staff, unleashing a dark elemental psychic attack. Despite their resistance, the group took massive damage, proving the demon's great power as he vowed to turn them into ghosts. With the group cornered, a massive howl shattered the skeleton mage's dark magic. The demon didn't grasp the howl's source, as Dish rode his pet onto the battlefield. Hero asked Asel for the monster's head, stunning the skeleton. The swordswoman asked why he needed the demon's head, and Dish confirmed he was cooking it into a meal. After a brief silence, Isle shouted she'd take the request, fueled by pure inspiration. Skeleton mage horrified by her rumbling stomach, confused by the sound, and even her comrades were surprised. Asking Dish his wish, the swordswoman realized he only wanted the skull, confusing the demon about their plans. Instantly, Asel decapitated the monster, with furious intent to devour it. The severed skull bounces off the ground and lands right in the hero's hands. The demon demanded freedom, but the guy just taped the skeleton shut and told him to quit twitching. 3 words cut fits the rule. Let's try. The bound skull tried to speak, but no sound came out. 11 words. Let's try. The bound skull tried. Asel pointed Dish to the nearby chaos. The magician's headless skeleton floundered, losing its grandeur. Seeing this, the other 2 knew their moment had arrived. Time to pay. They unleashed flame and linked healing, warning it would sting, demanding patience. Asel and Dish watched from the sidelines as screams and terrible sounds erupted from people inside the skeleton. Only ashes remained as Asel declared the mission complete. The girl asked what he'd do with the demon's skull tied in his hands. When the young man called the skull a bone, Isle offered crackers again, but Dish said those dishes only use small bones. Others doubted the skeleton's edibility, but Asel knew if Dish said it, it was true, showing her strong trust. The demon stepped up to silence them, mocking their plan to eat him. The group was shocked he spoke again. Even with just his head left, his defiance made the monster snap. Even without a body, he claimed his magic would still absorb them. Teeth clamped onto his skull mid-speech, forcing the demon to beg for mercy. The group watched the skeleton scream, relieved it wasn't them. Once it ended, they respected him as a tough foe, finally enjoying peace. Dish snatched the skull, resisting his hunger since he needed it as a tool. The skeleton mage seized his chance, shouting their miscalculation would kill them, but instantly he was powerless again. Asel asked Dish about cooking, eager for a new dish, but he told her to wait. This time the cooking takes 3 full days. Dishmakin promised his best monster dish ever if they just waited. 3 days later at Dish's house, the watchmen, the group who defeated the skeleton, met the hero. Asel and the others missed Dish's cooking, craving a dish from the enemy's skull. The swordswoman pondered the demon's fate when the hero pointed at her soup cauldron. A shard surfaced, its magical eyes staring Asel down in terror. Even the demon was scared, shocked to see his enemy, who was equally stunned to find him alive in the cauldron. Skull disagreed. He didn't feel alive and couldn't forgive her for this fate. The skull lunged from the cauldron to attack, but he snatched it midair, leaving the girl stunned. The divine beast gnawed the skeleton's skull. He loudly complained. Disha approached, calling them friends, but the demon vehemently disagreed. Asel asks why the monster's boiling, but the hero's just making magic skeleton broth. Hearing this, the group, horrified, indifferently watched broth bubble in the cauldron. Asel wanted to try it, asking Dish while others were shocked she'd drink something so sickening. She knew the risks but couldn't resist Disha's cooking, so he served her a plate of the liquid. Asel swallowed nervously, then took a sip from the plate. Silent and still for a while, the girl was asked her condition, then giggled, shook. Isle silently handed them 2 plates of broth. The boys exchanged glances, then sipped. They immediately admitted it tasted incredible. The skull furiously praised its delicious broth, then realized it was him and demanded worship. Another capture cut him short, forcing the demon to beg for mercy. The party raved about the monster broth, and a shocked Asel asked the hero for his secret. Dish knew broth came from any bones, even chicken or pork. The skull tasted familiar, but this flavor was on a whole new level. Isle understood bone broth, but couldn't grasp how this dish tasted so good. But the young man explained the skeleton mage was a monster, not just a demon, with a magical skeleton, confusing the girl. Dish explained the monster dies the moment its magic runs out, as mana is its life source. He saw the demon was still alive, meaning it still held mana. Dish said mana was life for monsters, but the skeleton mage was different. He's just bones, not flesh and organs. Then he asked which monster had more mana, the fleshy or the bony one, hoping they'd guess. The group realized that unlike normal beasts, this demon's mana only flowed through its bones. Abundant mana in its head and skull made the skeleton mage's broth delicious. Self finally understood the recipe, but then she wondered how Dish knew it would work. The group agreed this beast was incredibly rare, proving Hyrule had it ready all along. The young man confessed it was his first time preparing a demon, infuriating Asel with 0 guarantee of success. But the young man never worried, things always worked out. She thought Dish relied on experience, but he admitted it was just a premonition. Asel reminded him risk had limits. She knew the broth wouldn't be tasteless. Hero realized cooking's charm was risky decisions. The girl agreed, knowing cooking was trial and error. Dish announced the soup wasn't finished, hyping the group who'd totally forgotten. Everyone pitched ideas, from meat stew and hot pot to risotto. Dish accepted the choice but only cooked ramen. His decision shocked the boys, knowing ramen's past. This oriental noodle soup, packed with meat and vegetables, exploded in popularity 500 years ago, hitting menus everywhere. They realized this was their best bet and let the guy handle the cooking. Dish called for 3 ramen bowls and confidently started cooking. Tying back his hair, he started the sauce, choosing salt this time. He expected sauce to complement broth, but Isle made salt the accent, boiling dry seaweed and mixing it with salt for the sauce. The hero adds the meat, picking a cut his partner instantly recognizes. It's the bare shoulder from his legendary dish, and she's hyped to taste it again. Dish adds lime candies with fish sauce to the meat to adjust flavor, then some dragon oil. He let it simmer, then prepped the next stages. He grabbed his dagger and sliced the green onions and yellow jellyfish. He opened the cauldron to find the meat perfectly cooked and delicious. Smelling the dish's wonderful aroma, Isle almost jumped into the pot, but Dish calmed her. He cut the sparkling meat, and the group grew impatient seeing the fatty, saucy broth. As the others looked away to resist Disha's cooking, one girl asked what he'd do with the noodles. After this reminder, Isle admitted she completely forgot the noodles, but Dish already prepared everything, noting he usually uses wheat flour but tried something different this time. The party was stunned when the boy pulled these noodles from a tiny bag. Asel noticed the paste looked way too white and questioned it. The hero revealed it was sun-dried Alanya thread. She was surprised. Alangia was a unique earth monster, a mimic who hunted with webs. He dried a fresh web, certain its mana made it delicious despite the skeptics. Dish noted the demon spider combo in one dish was great, and everyone agreed. The cook dropped noodles in the pot. They softened, cooked, and glowed. Asel watched them turn silky in the hot water. With quick expert moves, he sets the plates and pours the broth. He tossed in noodles and meat, declaring the dish finished. Disha Makona's demon bone ramen appeared, and everyone instantly craved it. Stewed bear shoulder, seasoned with lime candies, and balanced with fish sauce. Silver-glowing noodles and seaweed salt sauce captivated every eye. The masterfully prepared ramen sat ready, and the adventurers devoured it with their eyes. Armed with utensils, the cell sipped the broth as the table erupted in praise for the magnificent dish. They raved about the deep flavor and the perfect salt-seaweed broth pairing. He felt eternity, unable to stop his hand moving the spoon to his mouth. I'll raved that this dish captured the true taste of ramen. Moments later, the broth vanished, leaving only ingredients. The boys felt mocked, confused by the ability, but Dish explained they drank it all as the skull doubted their minds. The hero called it soup, told them to plan better, and refilled their bowls as they apologized. With seconds served, everyone dug in, slurping down long strands of noodles. Moments later, everyone silently slurped down their noodles. Everyone devoured the incredible food when Dish asked their opinion. His question snapped the boys awake. Asel confirmed the food was incredible, shaking and repeating it until even the demon was horrified. Tears dripped onto the table as Fram cried uncontrollably, the food so delicious he was glad to be alive. Eliza saw her grandfather waving across the river. The incense nearly ripped her soul out as the demon realized they were going insane. Skull thought they broke, but Dish knew it was his mana. He tried it himself and saw the stars. Clutching his head, the hero declared the demon could be proud. The ramen was delicious. The skeleton mage was baffled, and Dish knew using Alania's web on ramen was the perfect move. Web threads were thin and tough, but cooked to silk, and Asel declared the noodles incredibly soft and tender, unmatched by any other. Frame was born for this ramen. Green onions and seaweed made it incredibly delicious. Feeling pathetic next to this masterpiece, they sweat and cry as Eliza moves to the final ingredient, the meat. One bite and their taste buds exploded. The priestess tasted lime, but it felt exactly like eating steak. Meanwhile, Isle devoured the noodles, mixing all flavors for a superb level. They slurped the last broth, finishing the dish, then, speechless, thanked the food. Fromm was speechless from the first bite, and by the end, he'd exhausted every word he knew. Even Eliza was surprised Dish made his special dish, bringing out every flavor and tying them together, pure genius. The skeleton mage gloated over stunning the party, but Asel reminded him they'd already turned him into a tasty broth. She realized level 0 Dish had no rivals while Juan toyed with the demon, and something shifted. In Carbania's castle dining hall, a girl griped about the boring food. She hoped someone could finally satisfy her appetite, while the hero struggled to reattach a skull's jaw. Summer arrived in Dish's hot, humid, four-season country within Runlud. For the mountain hero, summer was hellishly hot. He grumbled by the lake, fearing the heat would ruin the meat, but the fish weren't biting. He prepped the iwas, a fatty summer fish, as salted sashimi paired with exquisite madaraj grass. As he spoke, Isle snuck up behind him, startling the guy, claiming she saw him by accident. The girl wasn't hunting monsters when she spotted him. Her tasty food sensor instantly pointed at Dish. Her group lost sight of her, clueless about where she vanished. Dish noted the girl sweating heavily, assuming she'd sprinted to his location. Soaked from the heat, Asel stripped her armor to finally catch some air. She shed her armor and asked how she looked, but Dish ignored her, complaining about his fishing luck just like Isle. He realized his Ivas wasn't there, shifting his gaze. He played with a demon's skull and snatched jumping fish, while his master couldn't catch a thing. Dish had collected the required fish for dinner, but still wanted an Ivas. As he thought, something bit his hook. With Isle's support, the guy joyfully wielded his rod, finally catching a beautiful finned fish. He reeled in a tiny mermaid spirit, hooked through the cheek and absolutely fuming. As onlookers watched in shock, the spirit begged to be unhooked. The hero apologized and asked about Wendell. Asel and one, nearby with the demon, were shocked by the spirit's name. They knew this mermaid was Mrs. Wendell, their underwater enemy, a water spirit causing natural disasters. Confirming assumptions, the spirit instantly called the girl Lightspeed Knight and recognized the skeleton demon. Esau was shocked, but Wendell, a water spirit, found it natural. The mermaid heard every voice near water, catching rumors of the Knight of Lightspeed with pure joy. Wendell mocked the skull broth, but Asal noticed Dish and the spirit were bonding. The hero confirmed it. She loved his oven and visited to eat, just like Asel. Embarrassed and indignant, the mermaid wouldn't admit she liked his cooking, claiming her world's food was superior. Dish laughed and stroked her head, not believing a single word. Asel saw Dish bond with the sacred beast and water spirit, accepting it because only Dish could. Hero asked the spirit. Wendell instantly knew it was summer. Totally lost, Isle asked what they were even talking about. Dish and Wendell revealed summer starts the frozen ices, stunning the skeleton mage and the girl. Asel confirmed they were deeper in the forest. Wendell pressed Dish. How much longer? Dish needed more time. Later, the young man smiled, saying this area is perfect. Isle asked what he'd do since she came to hunt. Monsters broke up Asel's group. Asel claimed her group would cope alone. Dish eyed the girl questioningly. The boy arrived to find a hole. Asel questioned him, and Dish revealed it's where Frostbill hibernates. Frostbill is a massive beast, dangerously fast on snow and ice. It hibernates all summer, rarely leaving its burrow. Shocked, Asel remembers he wasn't an easy kill. Do monsters hibernate? Dish explains it's summer hibernation. They dig holes and sleep underground. Asel hadn't heard this, but she fought monsters in winter. She asked how Frostbill and frozen ice connect. Dish grinned, telling the girl she'd go if they met. Suddenly, he spotted a small hole. Isle figured this was normal for Frostbill. Wendell hurried the boys, starving. Dish told her to wait, then grabbed a twig and rummaged her norms. Isle felt a rumble. Dish yelled, "Run!" Surprised, Isle told him to stop. A beam shot from the hole as snow fell. Dish declared success, apologizing for scaring his comrades. He turned and asked Asel what happened. Seeing her tremble, he grabbed her hand, making her blush. She screamed everything was fine, but Dish's hand was small yet rough like a man's. Dish didn't understand Isle. Isle pointed to her hand. Dish apologized, saying he instinctively grabbed it. The boy gathered snow, made a snowball, and handed it to Wendell. She bit it, declaring it freezing. Asel realized the ice was for treats. Wendell explained big chunks are hard to eat, so they're chopping them up. Dish cooked. Asel spotted lime candies. Dish agreed, adding goat milk. Asel loved the delicious aroma. Disha served her Frostbill's frozen ice with goat's milk, and the girls instantly devoured it. Asel says the snowcrumbs melt instantly, and Wendell loves the sensation. Adding goat milk was a genius move. Asel said it tastes sweeter. Lime candies add a kick. Wendell's teeth bite this texture with pleasure. It's easy to chew. The boys loved it, but the aftertaste hit hard. Dish laughed, saying even Wendell and Isle struggled. Despite being expert tasters, the boys demanded more. Later, Dish lay in bed, claiming summer is ice stopped him from catching Ivan, but he got caught instead and it's fine. He recalled Azel's red face. Dish checked on her. He rose, approaching Wendell in the water. We'll move the water spirit, but the skeleton argued it was pure mineral water they'd prepared. The skeleton's water source was different, but Dish was just hyped to finally eat white rice again. Later, Asel returned, punished for abandoning her teammates on a hunt, forced to make her own ice. Noise erupted from the forest. The knight claimed the princess fled. Hunting monsters relieved her from Scoozy. He knew this was trouble. They picked the weakest monster, but she hated it. Knight saw the princess was in danger. The girl battled fierce monsters, finally living her dream hunt. Meet Princess Arya Stell of Carbania. The knights marveled at her elemental fusion, but she's too young and has a nasty attitude. Proud of her strength, she realized she was late and had to leave. She checked her bag for medicine, but it was gone. Soon the girl realized she was lost. Her mana was gone. She couldn't defeat any attacking monster. Her stomach growls, but a shadow looms in the distance. It's a massive monster. His crushing gaze froze her in place. She knew she stood no chance, shaking and begging her parents to save her. Dish appeared behind the wolf, asking the girl if she was okay. The girl stared. Surprised, Dish sat on the monster's back. Her stomach growled. Dish told her to wait while he grabbed his things. She thought he was weird, but not a monster. Dish pulls out food and the girl beams, but she refuses a stranger's meal. She only trusts village cooking, and Dish is already suspicious. Dish hands her a candy. She's surprised, realizing it caused her worry, then tastes its sweet, herbal flavors. Surprised, the girl asked what kind of unusual candy this was, not understanding. Dish sensed something wrong. The girl screamed and Isle heard her. Asked what happened, she just misheard, wanted line candies again, but was told to finish the job first. Dish and Juan trekked through the woods. The princess expected candy, and luckily they were delicious. She asked for his name, so Dish introduced himself and asked for hers. She offered a special introduction, but Dish ignored her. She screamed, begging him to listen since she rarely does this. Her name's Ariastel Alon Carbonia. Dish says that name's too long, can he just call her Alice? Furious, she couldn't believe Dish made such elite candy. She asked who taught him, but Dish said he did it alone. Alice questioned his powers, but Dish replied he was zero, utterly powerless. Alice was shocked. She laughed, saying this was why he hid, avoiding ridicule. Dish froze. Alice saw his anger, but Dish silently approached her. Alice apologized. Dish ignored her apology and told her to move. Alice was confused, but he was just prepping camp. Alice was shocked he wasn't mad, but he's used to being mocked. Once she realized which camp he meant, she exploded. Dish said she followed him, no one forced her. Alice screamed she wanted the bed. Dish replied his house was far, it was night, and monsters would soon wake. Alice's stomach growled again. She offered the boy more food, but Dish admitted eating all the candy. Alice eyed Dish, realizing the adventure had started. She knew the dangers but found nothing strange. Depressed, Alice felt completely worthless. She asked Dish about Wyan, wondering why powerless Dish lived with such a monster. Dish interrupted her, looking at Wyan to say he brought something. Wyan brought ice. Later, Dish whips up beer potatoes, assuring Alice they're alcohol-free. When she asks why they're frozen, Dish blames the snow mice. Snow mice are tiny monsters that swarm in early spring. They freeze food to survive winter when hunting is impossible. They aren't deadly, but touching one causes instant frostbite. Alice sighed. Dish asked what happened. She said potatoes weren't good to eat. Dish fumed, vowing to cook it so she'd enjoy it. Alice still didn't trust Dish. The lime candy shocked her, but she knows her potatoes and wants to learn his methods. Dish put coals in the cauldron, potatoes on top. She thought this wasn't cooking. Suddenly, a surprising smell hit Alice. Alice couldn't believe it, potatoes fried on the stones. The longer she waited, the more she craved it. Dish inhaled the fragrant potatoes and told Alice they were ready, serving his specialty, stone-fried beer potatoes. Alice grabbed the hot potato, but the dish offered a leaf. The heat was intense, roasting on stones indescribable, then a strong potato smell hit her. She saw golden, soft texture. Alice tried it, its taste amazed her. She called it potato cream. Shocked Dish made it so good just by frying it on rocks. Dish said it was just temperature and time. Alice asked what he meant, imagining Dish cooking potatoes on the fire for ages, slowly raising the heat. Dish discovered high heat sweetens potatoes, so after endless testing, he started roasting them on stones. Alice knew Dish lied about being a zero. He was hiding something. No one cooks this well without powers. Dish confirmed it. He wouldn't live in the mountains otherwise. Sensing danger, Alice apologized for her rudeness. Dish grinned, asking if she liked the food. Alice nodded. Later, Alice ate her fill, amazed she'd met an amazing person and tasted an amazing dish in this remote place. The girl asked Dish to become someone, but before she finished, she farted. Embarrassed, she silenced Dish before he could say a word. Alice returned to the castle and faced her parents' scolding, but she shared her wild adventure. Now, every mountain view makes her crave potatoes. Later, Dish eyed a massive castle. It looked imposing. Asel called out. Surprised, Dish received a princess's invitation, despite 3 refusals. Asel wondered why the princess invited him. She just wanted Dish's food again, ignoring everything else. Wait, she doesn't go if he gives it to her. Dish checks Asel's wounds. Since her medicine is low, Dish hands her some ayademogi herbs. Let's. Asel told Dish about his palace visit, and she knew he needed a makeover first. Later, Asel waited for Disha. The maid announced her ready. Asel smiled. Suddenly, a Dish appears. Surprised, Asel saw Dish warn her not to stare. She apologized, then spotted another beauty. They reached the princess, but Alice didn't recognize the transformed Dish. Dish revealed himself to Alice. A shocked Asel warned him not to call the princess that, but Alice liked the image. Asel was confused. Alice revealed she and Dish met before. The stone-fried beer potatoes hit the spot. Asel screamed it was unfair, but Alice countered that hiding a master chef was worse. Asel apologized, and Alice demanded another meal. Asel admitted they ate a monster, shocking Alice. Asel described feasting on monster parts, leaving Alice stunned that anyone could cook such things. Alice apologizes for immediately asking Disha to cook after arriving. She's starving. Dish said no, shocking everyone. Alice pressed him again. Dish flat out refused. Alice demanded a reason, but Dish just wasn't in the mood. Al knew this wasn't like Dish. Alice begged Asel to help stop her friend Dish, but Asel knew forcing him to cook was impossible. They disguised him and dragged him to the castle. Asel apologized, realizing he wasn't used to the city yet. Al told the princess to wait while she fixed the dish. Alice knew she was powerless. A cook needs hands and soul. She trusted the girl and asked for her plan. Asel replied, a dish is a person raised by cooking. If the location doesn't match, find a place like their habitat. The kitchen's a blur of boiling pots and hanging skins as everyone watches her plate the meat and fresh veggies. Proudly, she asks Dish if he likes it. She turns to an empty plate. Shocked, he stares at the dishes, yelling, "Cool, what is this, a copper pot?" An awkward silence follows. Dish sees chefs whispering about the dishes. He approaches, wondering what's wrong, then his gaze freezes on something. He spots rice surrounded by meat and gravy, then the chef orders the dish to introduce himself. Shocked by the question, he introduces himself. The cook smiles, claiming he's the princess's favorite chef, and asks why he's there. Asel emerges serious, saying the princess invited him. She asks them to uncover what's happening, noting his obvious interest. Dish, surprised, points at the food. "No one will eat this." The cooks suspiciously say no. Dish asks to try, stunning them. He takes a spoon, tries a piece. He smiles, declares it delicious. Texture's key. He felt it immediately. Sugar's perfect. They're dessert masters. Their milk and sugar mix is perfect, slowly cooling his throat, then his stomach. He thinks of chocolate's satisfying crunch. Its bitterness pairs perfectly with sweet ice cream, reminding him of his own recipes. Smiling, Dish says it's been ages since someone cooked for him. It's delicious, simply the best. Asel shouts at Disha to mind his words, but the cook shakes his head, says it's unnecessary, and thanks the young man, his words giving them courage to continue. Dish grins, knowing delicious is a chef's medal. Asel smiles as his mood lifts, but the cook admits the princess hates his food lately. Dish, baffled by the deliciousness, asks what was wrong. The cook reminds him, taste isn't bad, but it looks terrible. Dish realizes food needs to look attractive. The princess wasn't just picky, she hinted at the problem. He spins around at a noise as they start yelling. He awkwardly apologizes, but they shout that he's bleeding and demand he leave her now. Disha's mind is a blur of colors and meds. He scratches his head, asking his uncle's opinion while the princess paces the room, clearly troubled. She compulsively thinks ordering him to cook would work instantly, but no food appears. She wonders if he hates her. She blames the incident for her recent mistakes, even tossing her ice cream. Asked why, she claimed her look was missing something, blurting out a random excuse she immediately regretted. Now she must apologize to Dish. Suddenly, he enters, asking for Alice. The princess screams in fright. She spots Disha and her cook. Panic hits, he made her ice cream. He's the kingdom's best and she trusts him. She's clueless why he's with Dish, but knowing they're both mad, she decides to apologize. The cook tells the princess they added a visual touch, as she asked. He lifts the lid, and instantly huge smoke erupts. Alice asks what it is in shock. He smirks at his success as the princess admires the vibrant green ice cream while the cook calmly notes her surprise. Alice stares at the green ice cream, unlike any she's seen. The cook says they fixed the last ice cream with her advice. Confused, the princess asks what advice. She said it tasted good, but it looks awful. Shocked, she can't admit it was on purpose, too embarrassed. The cook smiles, offering a taste. Her hands tremble as she takes the spoon. It's exactly what she ordered, but something feels wrong. She takes a bite. She screams at the sudden cold, but excitement surges through her. It's like a snowstorm hitting extreme heat. She eats more, realizing this isn't bad at all. Cook asks how she likes it. Smiling confidently, she replies it's delicious. The cook bows, thanks her, but the princess keeps admiring it, calling the texture perfect. Milk and sugar sweeten it further. That magnificent, fridge-cold chocolate just begs a bite. She keeps eating, loving the perfect flavor combo. It's pure heaven. Totally satisfied, she gets lost in her thoughts. Dish calls, asks about the taste. Princess asks if he cooked it. He answers no, his uncle did. Smiling, he admits he just helped a little. Princess didn't expect that answer. The cook admits Dish's plan was the only reason they stunned the princess. He grabs Dish's shoulder and gives him all the credit. Asel recognizes the man as Cabania's top chef. He knows the boy's cooking, so she crowns his ice cream the best in the kingdom. The princess eagerly asks Dish how he made the delicious ice cream. Dish replies, nothing special, just a yagamogi leaf. Confused, the princess asks again. Yagadamagai is a legendary herb. It heals wounds instantly, cures stomach pain, and when mixed with divine water, restores strength and mana. He says he picked fresh yadamaga leaves, crumbled them into ice cream, and called it yadamaga chocolate ice cream in a cup. Princess marvels grass made it tasty. Dish corrects her. Ayadhamagi heals from within, not for taste. She gets it and Dish jokes wasn't bad, right? Beaming, the princess cheers their success and names him the kingdom's tastiest ice cream. The cook bows as the others celebrate. The princess confirms her taste buds were right, leaving the dish as is for a secret reason. She tells Dish why she called. She needs more ice cream for someone special. Dish asks Alice if she's okay. Alice is fine, but they must get this ingredient. They reach the girl, she greets Alice, and Dish stares before asking her name. Terrified, she calls him rude. Alice shouts it's Queen Emma Rawson of Caledonian. The queen smiles, says it's not worth it. She offers her mom a taste, who calls it the best in the kingdom. Emma doubts her and takes a bite for herself. Eyes closed, she savors the sweet ice cream and dark chocolate, calling it her best treat in years. She asks for the secret, and the princess reveals it's a yadamogi leaf. Emma thanks him for saving Alice. Dish blushes, and Alice adds there's still ice cream. Emma apologizes to Alice, skipping the meal. As they leave, Isle asks if Dash's cooking was bad, but Alice says Mom is always like that. If he coached it, she'd eat it. Dish asks, her mother looked unwell, is she really that sick? She demands he call her queen. Cook tells Dish the queen's sick and withdrawn from the heat, her appetite a serious problem. Their cooks keep failing, so lately she survived on nothing but chopped apples. They called Dish, his mother was sick. They hid the truth to avoid a panic, as a leak would be dangerous. Many meetings failed. Doctors diagnosed an unknown disease. The queen couldn't stand extreme heat, maybe heart problems. Neither cooks nor doctors grasp what's happening. Alice grows sad, plaintively calling for her mother. Dish watches, seeking a solution. He asks his uncles about medicinal herbs, but their best potion failed. Dish asks about the seven-colored flower. The seven-flowered plant, a medicinal herb named for its rainbow shimmer, is a rare miracle herb so potent, it can resurrect. Shocked doctors question him about the kingdom's strongest herb. Asel asks Dish if he can handle it, but Dish admits he's never tried. Asel snaps, asking if he knows them. They wonder if it's human, a spirit, or a beast, but he clarifies it's a Caledonian boar. It's a huge boar-like monster, 2 stories tall and incredibly strong. Its attacks are nearly unstoppable, yet it only loves luxurious, picky food. He eats food beyond imagination, but she screams he's still a monster. He saw it only once, the 7-colored Caledonian boar. Shocked, the girls press him. He says monsters often do this. Food's effect shows on their body, meaning he knows the grass's location. Alice understands, then suggests getting the herb. Isle fearfully asks if the princess wants to go, but she sternly says it's not up for discussion. She won't abandon her mother. Asel panics, terrified of what's coming. Alice interrupts, refusing to stand by. She tells Asel not to stop her. She must find the 7-flower garden to save her mother. Asel declares herself Light Knight Esau, taking Princess Eris's life into her hands, vowing to protect her and find the 7-colored flower. Alice is surprised by Azel's reaction. Knights rush in, addressing Mrs. Asel, offering help, their duty to protect the princess. Azel's surprised and impressed. The cook demands help for the extra guests. Alice wipes her tears and admits she's been acting spoiled. Dish smiles, happy for Alice, who thanks him, crediting him before thinking of her mother and vowing to save her. Alice announces they've arrived, but Asel is skeptical since Alice has hunted here many times and never seen the 7-colored flower. He asks Asel about the 7-colored flower, but a sudden noise startles them as Asel terrifiedly guesses what it is. From bushes they watch boars. Asel asks Dish if it's the 7-colored Caledonian boar. Dish can't tell from this distance. Alice realizes it's not that simple. Dish is certain he can find it and reveals a plan. Asel asks how, but Dish says they need rain, leaving Asel baffled and asking why. Dish reveals the 7-colored flower only blooms in rain. Their mission, arrange it. They question success, but he insists, you won't know until you try. Alice agrees to do it. Isle questions the spell's necessity, but Alice cuts her off, insisting it's to save her mother. She summons a massive downpour. As clouds swirl and rain hits, everyone stands stunned by her high-level magic. He checks on the princess, and Alice asks if the flower is ready. Dish smiles and tells her to look as rainbows flood the ground, leaving the princess stunned. Confused, she asks what it means. Rainbows belong in the sky, but this one's strangely pulling them deeper into the forest, a clear sign. Asel asks what it is. Did he find the 7-flowered garden? He answers no, it's Caledonian boar waste. Confused, they ask. Dish says if it glows in water, they're safe. Asel panics, fearing the queen will eat it, but Dish denies it. Alice confirms the Caledonian boar ate the 7-flowered daisy. Follow the tracks, find the real one. Dish agrees that's how it is. They find a massive flower bed, and Alice asks if the 7-flowered plant is real. Asel spots the herbs but is baffled by their rainbow glow. They reveal one last secret to Isle, mimicry. The seven-flower can disguise itself as any plant. Shocked, Asel asks if it's the seven-flowered plant, then sees it vanished. They explain it's the plant's nature. Water is its enemy. Asel spins around, sensing danger. Beast One feels it too. Asel stands to guard the princess, shouting that he's coming as she orders the knights to ready up. Boars charge, princess summons an earth wall, stopping them cold. Knights cheer, proud to fight for the queen alongside her. Alice confides in Isle at night, admitting reliance. Isle understands, then asks if he gets it. One and Asel rave about the delicious Caledonian boar. Alice worries, but knows the meat will save her mother. Asel cheers, shouting that the princess gave her blessing. Isal screams her name, telling the boar to be honored. She's eating him as one charges in hungry. Boars charge, Asel kills one with a swing, the other flees in horror, screaming he won't run, daring it. Boars fall, Dish surprised notes their new skill. Asel asks, can we eat it? Dish hasn't cooked it, but a cook's main task is making it tasty. Dish checks the boar and asks Alice for experienced butchers. She understands. Dish warns the knight this is risky. He's never cut one either. He figures the back is like a herbivore's, so they'll butcher it like a boar. The knight accepts. The knights carve it up, questioning their orders. His partner reminds him the princess chose him, and finding that seven-colored flower proved he's the real deal. With a pet monster and Mrs. Asel's backing, his insane skills prove why he's in command. They call Dish terrible. Dish works and smiles, saying they hit the nail on the head. Confused, they ask what that means. Dish explains most monster meat is technically edible, but it tastes terrible, and there's barely any of it. He explains time depends on the meat, more cutting. He tells Isle and Alice their efforts won't be wasted. He wants to try it most. Dish's stomach loudly rumbles, surprising Asel with such hunger. He then thinks of glutton Asel and spoiled Alice, a lover of luxurious food. Everyone loves the Zero chef's food, but he's the one craving it most. Asel and Alas return home to eat. One slays and devours monsters, but Asel has nothing, he's a zero. Forced to live by kill or be killed since childhood, he hated it. He found a business that freed him, and he only wanted to try it. He pulls something out, yelling it's here. Knights wonder, ribs. He dries his hands, listing his only ingredients, salt, garlic, and oil for firebags. She offers a gift from the royal cook. He unwraps a glowing golden square and excitedly tosses it into the dish. He juggles multiple pots. Knights ask the princess if it's enough. She confirms it is, but the recipe only says boil water, not for how long. Dish explains this removes the monster's stench, admitting raw-smelling meat is gross. He showed the knights the crack's removal. He asks for their loyalty, and they pledge it instantly. He cuts strings and hangs the meat. Asel asks, he explains it's smoked meat. He explains the smoking effect. Alice sees the clear difference, but Asel is confused. Monsters and mages leak magic through pores. Stronger ones have more, but smoke seals them, trapping their power. Isle tells the princess she's cool, who proudly accepts. Dish sprinkles spices on the meat. Knight nearby says it's salt and pepper. He turns, demanding his lime candies, and asking for any alcohol. The knight hands over an antidote, and the man accepts it with a quick thanks. He pours it on the meat, massaging vigorously. Asel asks what's cooking. He replies, smoked meat needs seasoning too. He waits, then pots the knight's gutted monster meat, seasoning it with salt, pepper, and grated greens, mixing it with a little milk beef. He starts cooking, and the crowd is instantly mesmerized by the heavenly aroma. Asel's nose is overwhelmed. Alice can't take it either. Dish begs them to wait. He plates the meat, announcing Dish's specialty, fried Caledonian boar. The knights roar with joy, stunned to find a massive feast deep in the wild. Asel turns to the princess. She understands. It's all they're doing. They found the seven flowers so her mother will recover. She praises the group and tells them to feast, urging a thanks for the cook. Everyone cheers. Knights see the food, feel grateful, but it's a monster. How can they be grateful? It looks like delicious meat. They hear a loud cry of admiration, unsure if it's an attack or a monster. Isle tastes it and screams in delight, joined by another shouting with joy. Confused by Asel's behavior, the knights watch in shock as the princess floats from the food's flavor. Knights stare for ages, then taste the meat. The captain loves it, shocking them all. Captain's baffled. Meat's just meat, yet strength surges. He never knew monster meat tasted so good. He cuts the meat, surprised by its softness. Despite the high heat, its potential is palpable. Another guy bites in and screams. It's delicious. They can't believe this is actually monster meat. The crunch is incredible as the meat melts on his tongue. The captain notes a unique salty kick, unlike any meat he's ever tasted. He stands spotting the house and people. Sobbing, he begs to see his wife, kids, and parents. He sits at the table, trembling and saying his soul cries, asking other knights to try it. They take a nervous bite, scream in shock, and start devouring the meal. Alice beams proudly. Asel praises God joyfully. Alice turns to her. Even the serious knights who ordered them to eat it seem pleased. She hates forcing them, knowing it ruins the taste, but with no other choice, she believes they'll come willingly next time. Asel knows everyone wants the big cuts, but the smoked meat is hers. Her stomach growls at the hanging strips. She just ate, but that smell makes her hungry all over again. Alice and Asel taste the meat and lose it. Smoked beets fried any day, and Alice says the fat melts like butter, stunned by the divine flavor. The captain tells the princess to leave this for others. Everyone eats with both cheeks, so just tell them not to eat. Princess agrees he's right, treat the others. Asel declares it a sensation. Alice concurs. She insists her mom try it, returning home to a cheering crowd. Asel's surprised by everyone's mood. The butler confirms a zero cook made something they've never tasted. Everyone is stunned by their first taste of monster meat. No wonder it's so loud. Isle asks where the dish is. The butler ponders the 7-flower garden while Dish stares at the plant, totally clueless. He's called a culinary genius, but now he's losing faith in his own talent. He tastes the plant, finds its taste fine. It's dark, feels like ordinary grass. He can cook it simply, perhaps sautéing it with cheese, milk, and the 7-colored plant. Isle tells Dish to stop overthinking, promising to eat anything he makes. Dish thanks her, but he's desperate to impress Alice's mom and doesn't know how to hook her. He remembers she disliked ice cream, had no appetite, so he hadn't prepared it. He cares who he cooks for, but he's never cooked for anyone. Asel and the others never asked for anything, so what does she like? He spots the dish. He looks at the cold pasta and spots something. Instantly, a wild idea hits him. He demands the mother's past menus, but the chefs refuse, citing confidentiality. A cook presents a book, asking if it's needed, but other cooks shout it's wrong. Cook promises to take responsibility, giving Dish an item, hoping it helps. Dish thanks his grandpa for being the boss, but the old man claims he's just a worthless cook who can't satisfy the princess. Dish reads the book, understanding the list. He gets it. Asel asks what, and Dish declares it dawned on him. He knows what to cook. Emma refuses to eat in her room, but Alice insists the meal is made from the 7-colored flower. Emma recognizes the 7-colored flower, and Alice cheers, shouting they got it just for her. Emma thanks her, but insists now isn't the time while Dish tells the queen everything is fine. He presents the tray, it's what you want. Emma wonders if it's true, but she has no appetite. Dish lifts the lid, revealing the meal. An incredible smell fills the room. Emma's eyes. Everyone stares in shock as Alice asks what happened. Emma blushes, calling it a shame, but Dish smiles, saying it's just a natural reaction. Emma blushes, looking away. Dish says she always wanted this. She calls it his special 7-flower porridge. Emma asks, surprised, just 7-flower porridge. Doctors doubt porridge in this heat makes no sense. Emma grabs the spoon. Everyone's shocked, shouting the queen reached for it without seeing the dish. They demand to know what he did. Asel silences the doctors while Dish bowls the soup. Emma eyes the porridge, decides to try it, and takes a spoonful. It's hotter than expected but manageable. It's the perfect temperature, so she keeps digging in. Porridge melts sweet as sugar, sweeter than ice cream. She then thinks of the unique 7-colored grass and its interesting sound. She eats, loving its magma-hot heat. The sugar, salt, and 7-colored flower combo is divine. She can't grasp how he cooked it. The doctors watch in horror as she keeps eating. Is this really the queen who never ate? She's a different person now. They watch in shock as she devours the porridge. Alice beams, knowing her plan worked. Emma feels reborn. The queen devours her porridge and thanks them. Isle notes she just polished off a 4-person serving alone. The knights cheer in shock as the queen heals. Asel marvels at the 7-colored flower's power, but the queen corrects her, leaving Asel puzzled. Dish says he was right. Isle doesn't get it, asks Dish what he means. Dish declares Alice's mother wasn't sick. Everyone gasps, asking if she really isn't sick. Dish solved it using her order: peach spread, lemon ice, iced bean jelly, and cold pumpkin soup. Everything's cold here, so he didn't think she was sick. He reminds Alice she brought ice cream. Her mom only ate cold food, making her super sensitive. Everyone's shocked. Asel gets why he cooked porridge and added 7-flower. He notes she hasn't fully recovered. Alice asks her mom why she didn't request something hot. Her mom sadly admits she felt helpless as they kept serving cold food, unable to speak up. She begs the cooks for forgiveness, but the knights vanish into the book, telling her not to feel guilty. Alice still doesn't know who or what he is. He unmasks, saying everyone tried to focus on her, but the sweltering heat made any intense thought unwelcome. Few positive results came from it, but that guy impressed him. They gasp, is it Garvin? Dick's clueless, so he asks. Asel proudly declares it's Garvin Weistace, the princess's legendary adventure teacher. Dish doesn't get it, but he's a cool guy. His name suggests it. He asks if this great man disguised as a knight, if that's his hobby. Garvin was in the forest and spotted them by chance, desperate to know what they were doing. Harry introduces himself, and Dish greets him back. The room falls silent the moment she calls him Harry. Harry's stunned by the name, and the cooks are skeptical. He asks Dish if his forest performance was actually impressive and what skill he used. Surprised, Dish answers he's 0. Harry wonders, if he lacks the skill, how did he know about the 7-colored flower? Dish claims he only has knowledge and experience. Harry thinks 0 is his skill. Suddenly, a stomach rumbles, and everyone stares at Emma in shock. She awkwardly laughs, admitting she ate a ton but is already hungry. Porridge digests fast. Can she order? Feeling hot, she wants something cooler and immunity-boosting. She asks Dish for ideas. Dish takes charge, vowing to cook the perfect meal as he hits the kitchen. Dish starts cooking meat as the staff surrounds him, shouting for his orders. Chef says everyone wants to learn from him, but he can't cook. Dish sees them and asks what to do, so let them learn this art. Dish shouts their cooking just began, knife in hand. Later, Asel pleads with Dish, but he firmly refuses, never yielding. Asel blames his refusal for stripping her power. Asel wants Dish to guest chef at a local tavern for one day, but he's completely clueless why. They stop at a building. Dish asks if he'll work there, and Asel confirms. It's a fish restaurant, but the manager is very ill. Relieved there's no risk, she introduces her assistant Neris, who now runs the shop. The cat-eared Neris asks if you're the cook Asel mentioned, and says she's thrilled to meet you. Asel complains she can't cook, and she snaps back, demanding what he means, so Asel suggests he work in her place until Nora recovers. Dish is free now, and it's easier than castle cooking. Asel asks if he'll take the job, and he agrees. Dish introduces himself and friend one, then points to the skeleton, claiming it wants the broth. The skeleton's furious. Why'd he say that? Dish greets Nyaris, but the indignant skeleton demands not to be ignored. Dish surveys the kitchen, calling it a good tavern. The atmosphere immediately hits him. He tells Nyaris he's only making one dish. She snaps that a canteen needs variety, but he asks, what if it's incredibly delicious? She asks if it's real, and he confirms it. Asal and Naras lean in, demanding to know the ingredients. She spots a black, writhing creature, screaming demon fish. People caught it, wanting to try it, but its poison killed everyone. Lightning fast, it feigns death to attack humans. This fish is too dangerous for food. Asal lifts the demon fish, yelling, it's the legendary demon fish. The skeleton recoils. Asal laughs, asking about her strength, but Naira fearfully replies strength means nothing. She's baffled, admitting she's never seen anyone catch him like that. Dish grips the fish while Nyara screams in awe, desperate to do the same. Dish reveals anyone can catch it by bending their third finger. He demonstrates, Asel nails it, and Nyaris shouts in excitement. Dish says the fangs must go. Asal knows it won't be easy. She wonders how he'll pull it off as Dish slams the fish down and hammers a nail through it, making the tail twitch. Asel realizes he's nailed it, limiting movement. She watches. Dish slices the fish, pulling out its insides. Asel doesn't understand how he did it. Neris is stunned by the beautiful fish, but Dish warns its blood is toxic. It's a demon fish after all. Dish says heat removes blood, so he skins it first, then plans to cool it with water, make cuts, and stick sticks into the pulp. Neris asks if he'll fry on magic stones. He denies it, she's wrong, he has something better, Dish's special citrine. Neris spots the coal stove and worries about smoke, but Dish explains it's built to let the fire through perfectly. Hearing smoke, Asel recalls the Caledonian boar's delicious scent and smiles in agreement. He opens the lid, eyes the meat, approves as the delicious smell fills the room. Asel smells it, impatient. What a scent. Neris also smells it, recalling her mother's tale. She asks coal's good, but magic stones are better, right? Isle agrees, demanding the meat cook faster. Dish opens a jug as the girls yell at sauce, confused by its black color. He dips his brush and coats the fish. Magic flares. Isle loves the scent, but the skeleton suddenly twitches. Terrified, she asks what's there, calling it a skeleton from the broth. The streets are packed, but Isle isn't shocked. Dish serves his special fried demon fish, and the girls dig in. Shouts of delicious erupt as Asel devours the fish, outsiders staring, mouths watering. Nearest raves, crispy outside, unbelievably soft inside a first. Dish credits the citrine and asks if the aroma isn't great. Isle is stunned, never imagining this was demonfish. She screams it's impossible. She eyes the dripping sauce Dish calls broth. Nearest wonders if it's sugar, but Asel says it's not. What is it? Asel asks Dish, who confirms she's right. She shows lime candies. Nearest instantly asks if they're the same. He offers her a candy to try. She hesitates, stares at it, then pops it in. She screams at the sweetness, finding it as good as the fish. Asel planned it that way, and she loves the solution. Dish explains the sauce isn't just on top, it's fried in, making the combo perfect. Nearest thinks it's cool, tells Dish it's great, then asks his skill. Asel says this is it. She won't believe him, but he's Dish, a zero cook. Nearest shouts she heard about him. He rescued the princess from monsters and cured the queen. Hungry crowds shout, drawn by the irresistible smell, asking if they're open again. Asel smiles apologetically, saying that's all for today, asking them to wait 3 days. Dish promises to cook the fish and shoves Nearest forward. Nearest freezes, then screams in horror as Asel agrees. Dish asks Nearest to cook for her mother. She hesitates, but Dish claims a good meal will speed up her recovery, promising it'll be easy. He says it's nothing special now that she's seen him cook, and he's sure her mom will be stunned. She saply calls him a cooking zero, but Dish smiles, explaining even his skillless self cooked it. Cooking isn't about skill, but passion, anyone can do it. Nearest pauses, then shouts her acceptance. Dish smirks and starts training now, claiming 3 days without sleep is easy. Nearest questions him, 3 days sleepless. Dish drags Nearest, suggesting ingredients. She screams, panicking, begging to wait. Asel stands watching the scene. Nearest is shackled by the terrible cook. Her training starts now. Asel waits at the lake, summoned by Mrs. Wendell for something urgent. She realizes they're waiting for someone, while the mermaid stares into the distance. Steeling herself, she wonders why the water spirit summoned them. Alert and on guard, a voice calls her name. Dish announces Dish's warm milk soup is ready. Asel's face lights up, wishing herself bon appetit. Eating, she says cool weather makes warmth perfect, a reason to await winter. Dish smiles, glad of it. Mrs. Wendell eyes them, saying they haven't changed a bit. Asel turns to Mrs. Wendell and asks how long she's known Dish. She realizes she never told them. 2 summers ago, a man tossed a cursed sword into the nearby river, and Asel remembers catching him. She says the river turned toxic purple, and Asel recalls the horrific sight. Dish's shocked 2 years passed. She tells Wendell she was livid, and he agrees. The man's actions were unforgivable. 2 years ago in the rain, everyone buzzed about the spirit's anger. The elder explained. Mrs. Wendell raged over river pollution, which killed many. He mourns as life fades and nature rots. The elder rages, demanding they tame the spirit before the world ends. Little Dish lies in the forest, told to wake. Barely opening his eyes, he asks the stranger's name. Before him sits Mrs. Wendell's huge spirit. Shocked by her size, he demands to know. She's furious he doesn't know her, but he has no idea what she means. Wendell thinks he caused this chaos, but he denies it, claiming he just passed out from hunger. Mrs. Wendell knew it was him. Shocked by her hunger, she wonders how this happened. Dish looks up, coldly asking who she is, and she boldly prepares to reveal the truth. Dish asks if she caused the rain. She proudly claims the power, mocking his size and bragging she's just getting started. Dish yells, calls her stupid. Confused, she asks what she did, how he dares yell. Dish demands she stop the rain, it'll ruin all plants. She demands justice, the culprit must pay. Dish questions her resolve. She offers, let her eat him and she'll end the rain. A malicious grin spreads. Dish declares it's tasteless. Laughing, she smiles. I'll eat the one who needs punishment. Dish screams she's stupid. Eat only when hungry, not to punish. Dish is sure she's just hangry. She's too confused to explain, so he offers to cook her a meal. Rain pours as Dish shelters under a massive leaf. He's stunned she can shift her size. Now, she's as big as him. He demands she listen. Polluting the river is wrong, but she can't drag others into it. He warns her actions will hurt innocents. She argues spirits see all people equally. If they punish, everyone pays. Dish smiles, admitting she forgets faces, and he relates, confessing he's bad with names. Telling her to chill, he offers a surprisingly tasty candy. Wendell, surprised by his tale, asks Dish to listen. She asks if he'll cook the monster now. Dish tells her not to make that face. He guarantees it'll be tasty. Horrified, Wendell sees Adamante, a shelled monster, king of the seas with thick, root-like limbs, webbed feet, who buries eggs deep in mountain ground. Horrified, she asks if this is his goal. Dish says she only lays eggs every few years on rainy days. She thanks Wendell for her freedom and gladly helps, but worries the task is too big. Dish assures them it's fine, stay away, nothing happens. Then Adam and Ty snap up, screaming. A scared Dish asks what's wrong as Dell stares in horror. 4 years ago, he wasn't aggressive. Wendell sees his pain, not rage. His body's changing color, making this her task. Dish begs her to end his agony. She promises not to eat him, only to stop the pain. Wendell leans in, calling him surprisingly cute. Monster attacks, enraging the spirit. She summons magic, rising on water above it. Dish watches, amazed as she forms a water cage, trapping the monster in a ball. Wendell says it's better this way. That's her power. Staring at the ball, she's proven right as a sword pierces the turtle from below. Dish saw his agony. Wendell noted he took a beating too, then they yanked the sword free. Instantly, the turtle's water shifts from dark and dirty to crystal clear. She returns the turtle to the water, then grins, proudly swimming to Dish. Dish yells she's cool, but she scoffs that as a spirit, it's only natural. He just grins and agrees. He asks if it's a cursed sword. She confirms. She thought it drifted into the sea. Dish thinks, then guesses. That's why she called rains to cleanse the river. Dell admits she can't just make it rain, they're people. She sees Dish smiling, laughing, but doesn't understand why. He calls her kind for sparing the monster, but she screams she's not good. She's only nice to humans, and spirits should love everyone. Dish smiles, calling her even kinder. She glares and sighs, still unable to forgive anyone. She spots Adamantine smiling. She asks Dish if leaving him was okay. He says it's fine, his goal isn't adamant. Wendell's surprised, finally grasping his goal. Dish shouts, "Follow me." As they approach, then yells, "Found it," revealing a steaming egg stuck in the ground. Wendell screams it's an egg and blasts it skyward. Dish catches the adamantium shell, warning that its impact alone can be lethal. Wendell asks about nearby crows. Dish confirms they ate him. Wendell, surprised, realizes wild animals teach people. Dish hunts for more eggs before the rain stops and rivals eat them. Wendell follows as Dish readies the adamantium eggs. Wendell dreams of adamantium dishes, dying to try them. Dish points to their first target. Wendell smells ketchup, but the scent is so overpowering she questions if it's real. He warns it's a killer tomato, a dangerous monster disguised as a normal tomato. It zaps with lightning, snaps its jaws, and bites anything that approaches, harming many every year. Stunned by the monster, Wendell asks how he turned it into ketchup. He says the secret is smelling the smoke, leaving her confused and asking for an explanation. He says smoke chokes the tomato killer, then quickly collect and heat it. Smoke blocks magic flow, so the magic stays in the ketchup. He warns the killer tomato is super sour. Wendell asks if that's true, since regular tomatoes aren't. He explains it has internal organs, leaving digestive fluid she'll see inside. Wendell realizes this liquid makes the ketchup spicy and cheers. He asks if cooking is always this fun, but Wendell calls the ingredients bizarre. The Crown Bow King traps adventurers from underground, while the evil whispering mushroom hides in the dirt, triggering lethal allergies. Cooking, he declares he'll fry whispering mushroom with King of Alchem, salt, madder edge grass, then douse it in ketchup. Wendell shouts, drawn by the smell. She calls it so red, absolutely perfect. Dish cracks an egg, pouring the liquid. Wendell marvels at the contrast. She stares at the white liquid, but Dish instantly calls it egg milk. Still confused, she gives him a blank stare. Dish explains the adamantine egg holds milk with magic power, and embryos grow huge after 90 days underground. Wendell's stunned. Dish asks if adamantium is interesting, then mixes it up, guaranteeing she'll love the flavor. He flips the egg midair, stunning Wendell with his skill. He tops the cereal, declares it ready, and slices it open. Dish calls it her special adamantium egg omelet. Wendell, genuinely happy, grabs a spoon to try. She screams with joy, loving how it melts in her mouth. She can't believe it's actually monster meat. The egg is salty. Dish explains the monster lives in salty seawater, so now she understands. Smell and taste merge. The killer tomato perfectly accents the ketchup. Then she sees something. Is Disha's dish creating a mirage? Even as a spirit, she's stunned. Disha interrupts, smiling as he asks if the omelet is tasty. She calls it average, but admits she wouldn't mind more. Dish asks why. She loved it, so he tosses another omelet up, but it crashes to the floor. He fears Wendell. She glares. He claims it was an accident, saying it always works out. She screams, "Stop lying, everything always works out for you." He insists he'll eat it. She gets the next. She wonders who he is, finds him quirky, but knows he's a talented cook. She finds their actions unforgivable. Forgiveness only worsens things. Even delicious food won't sway her, but she has other plans. To her, he's special despite being a zero. He outcooks any royal chef, and his voice snaps her back as he tells Wendell it's ready. He wrote a message on the omelet telling her to eat. She looks at Dish, but he says he can't stand seeing her sad face after his cooking. She's shocked, but he cuts her off. As a cook, he gets it. He's killed countless lives just to eat, and things have to change. Wendell asks, "Aren't you afraid?" Dish replies, "That's my request, I want to devour you." Wendell stares, not understanding his intent. Dish used his own body as an ingredient, demanding he enjoy it. Wendell stares in shock as Dish waits for him to dig in. Wendell laughs loudly, calling him interesting, but but he angrily insists he's serious. Wendell sees his eyes, truly stupid and honest. He asks if she'll eat him. She replies she'll eat him. She lacks the skill to fulfill his request, leaving Dish disappointed. Wendell suggests postponing the matter, but he demands an explanation. She treats him like a dessert saved for later, promising to eat him eventually. Dish cheers wildly, while a terrified Dell is baffled by her strange reaction. She realizes he's alone, no family, yet something about him. She says the rain stops soon, time for goodbyes. He calls her name, she turns to his words. He asks to meet again. She sighs, puzzled by his upset, explaining she's a water spirit, always nearby. He grins, so we'll meet again. Wendell vows to feed her perfectly. She dives into the water, leaving her dish behind. The water evaporates, clouds vanish, and sunlight pierces the sky. He clenches his fists, vowing to cook. Wendell Isle finishes her first meeting story, with Dish adding she was strange to call him a zero cook. The gods and spirits were split on him, so they delayed his release. She turns away, her work finished. Dell notices she's hiding something. She tells him to turn around, and he obeys. He finds a shocked Asel, mouth agape. Confused, he asks what's happening, but she's furious he'd even ask. She screams, "It's nothing. Are they really saying Dish settled that?" Dish panics and begs her to calm down, but she screams louder, asking if Mrs. Wendell will eat him next. She's glad he calmed her, grateful, but makes him promise never to risk his life again. He awkwardly replies he had no choice, she wouldn't have calmed down. Asel screams he's not to blame for the polluted river. Dish, shocked by his outburst, begs him not to waste his life. He's her dear friend. He smiles, telling her he understands. He was alone when he chose that path, but now he has the royal family and the skeleton. He apologizes, admitting Asel is right. Wendell calls them interesting and assures Asel they won't hurt Disha. She warns it's happening soon. Asel looks up, says the lake froze. She sees a shadow. A fairy appears before them, emitting ice crystals. Wendell says she's an ice and water spirit, so they'll accept her. Isle hasn't heard of her. Wendell explains she's a seasonal spirit. They ask her role, and Dell says she brings winter. Pointing to ice flying above, she tells them to look up and open wide. She looks up, wondering if they're stars, when something hits her head. Asel yelps in pain. She grabs a piece, realizing it's ice. She looks up, cheering that it's candy. Wendell calls it star snow, a mix of ice and magic raining down. Wendell reveals water spirits are born from sugar, giving magic its taste. She proudly boasts about their beauty. Dish, surprised, exclaims he's never heard this. Asel and Wan Chu, she says she's full. Asel notices the ice spirit vanished. Wendell says her work is finished, and as Asel stands confused, they both look up to see snow falling. Asel smiles, it's winter. This unusual year, she'll never forget meeting Dish. She closes her eyes, floats up, and in the silence, her stomach rumbles. Blushing, she awkwardly admits she's hungry again asterisk. So Dish, surprised but resigned, agrees to please her and invites her along. Asel thanks Dish and helps clean. She spots something on the shelf, looking confused. Dish explains it's just an ingredient. Asel shouts she knew it and demands to know the ingredient. Dish apologizes, revealing it's a lost ingredient. She doesn't understand. 9 years ago, abandoned in the forest, he just survived, even knowing he could eat monsters. It was still hard for a child. Barely walking, starving for days, his stomach growling, he suddenly perks up, catching a scent, and happily declares it very tasty. He sprints to the end and finds a red stone. He knocks on it, noting its strange texture, then smells its aroma. It's edible. He bites down, but he's suddenly thrown back. A voice screams, "It hurts." He realizes it's a huge dragon glaring sternly. The dragon turns, demanding why he's on its back. Disha is shocked the beast can talk. He read that dragons are as smart as humans. Relieved they can communicate, Dish begs for a scale with sparkling eyes. The dragon snarls, "Idiot, I'm the strongest beast, never lost to a man. You think I'll give you my scales?" Dish calls him greedy, but he snaps back. He demands she listen. He's the last red dragon alive. He boasts he lives longer and is stronger. Stop his insolence, leave now, or I won't forgive him. Dish declares his strength over the dragon, baffling the beast. He plans to cook its scales to taste their deliciousness. The dragon asks if scales are only for weapons. Dish asks if he looks like an adventurer, and the dragon admits he doesn't. Dish asks if he's clueless, claiming his scales smell delicious. Shocked, the dragon sniffs himself, refusing to believe it and hating the thought. The dragon shouts, understanding his intentions. He wants his heart, claiming eating it grants immortality. Dish asks if it's tasty. Dragon retorts, "You don't know, you haven't tried. Take my heart and you die." Dish is interested, stunning the dragon. He demands a scale instead of his heart. Shocked, the dragon looks away and lets him take a piece. The dragon likes Dish's cooking. Dish nears the dragon, mouth wide with hunger. The dragon screams long. He isn't ready but tells him to hurry because he's starving. The dragon wonders what's wrong with this kid and if he even understands. Dish just says of course he does, he's Dish. The dragon yells for gentleness, but Dish brushes it off. When the beast screams in pain, Dish questions the noise, and the dragon snaps that it's all his fault. Dish rips off 3 scales, making the dragon cry. He notes their surprising lightness despite many layers, then sniffs the delicious smell. This will be tasty. The dragon watches Dish scrape the scales. Impressed by his expert knife work, the dragon asks who taught a kid to move like that. Dish replies he learned it cooking, then practiced himself. Dragon asks if that's his skill. He replies no, he has no such skill. Dish says they're zeros. The dragon's surprised he can cook without skill, but Dish says cooking needs no skill. The dragon's stunned. Born without skills, they're nobodies doomed to fail. Mothers even kill their babies to end the burden and spare them from suffering. He can't figure this kid out. Despite a brutal past, he's still all smiles. Now he has to taste his food. Dish boils everything, adds a scale, then leaves it. The dragon asks what he's cooking. He answers, broth. He sniffs, says it smells like the sun, instantly recalling memories of a woman he lived. He rushes Dish to cook, promising it's ready soon, then salts nearby vegetation, covers the scales with a cloth to separate them from the broth, and adds the vegetation. He serves the dragon scale broth, but the confused dragon has never heard of it. Dish wonders how to eat. The dragon reassures him, just watch, then transforms into a man. He raises the cup and savors the aroma, but flavor is everything. A good scent doesn't guarantee taste. He sips the broth. He shouts it's incredible, barely believing it's broth. That aged aftertaste is unlike anything he's ever tasted. He loves the vegetation with the broth, an odd combo. He can't believe how good it is, decades lived, yet he never knew. He asks Dish how he knew it'd taste good. Dish admits he didn't, but seeing his first dragon, he just had a hunch it'd be delicious. Mixing experiments and adventurous spirit vanish when he learns he's a zero. Yet being a zero asterisk is asterisk his essence, his skill. He's curious what power God truly gave him. They reminisced, enjoying delicious food and great conversation. Finally having fun, he thanks Dish and asks his plan. Dish isn't sure, but he wants to use these ingredients for a brand new experiment. The dragon asks if he's staying, and he confirms. The dragon sees the resemblance. Safe from monsters by an old tree, he knows he needs this place. Dish thanks him. Dragon assures he'll like it. Dish asks if he's really leaving. He replies he wants to see the world again. Meeting Dish showed him much remains unknown, so he'll fix it. Dish is sorry he finally has a companion. The dragon warns his journey won't last long. He'll soon find new companions. He calls it tasty, swelling with pride. No skill, yet he satisfied the dragon. Dish yells, next time cook better. He apologizes to Asel for his weakness, but she calls it an unbreakable promise. She's stunned by the truth, though she's tired of surprises. Asel starts preparing, knowing he could return at any moment. Asel asks what he's thinking, but he shuts his eyes and says it's nothing. The dragon nears the tree with Asel.